Flash credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The Big Hoopla is celebrating their 10th anniversary this year and will hit a milestone 100,000 tickets donated to airmen, their families, and students when combined with Hometown Heroes events in those 10 years. This furthers our region's commitment to supporting our military during the 75th anniversary year of the Air Force. The 2022 NCAA First Four Men's Basketball Tournament, Tuesday, March 15 and Wednesday, March 16 at UD Arena. Get your tickets and donate to be a part of our mission at DaytonHoopla.com.
Hi, this is Keith Byers. If you suffer from chronic joint pain, don't assume that steroid shots, pain pills, and surgery are your only options. You can now get real, lasting, life-changing relief from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in using biologic therapies to repair damaged tissue in your aching joints. The success rate is staggering. People with knee and back pain, shoulder pain, and hip pain, they're moving again, enjoying life with the help of QC Kinetics. This advanced, unique treatment protocol uses natural biologic agents, mostly from your own body. These powerful, highly concentrated growth factors are put directly into your affected joint, going to work to soothe the inflammation and restore damaged tissue. Finally, a new, different, highly successful approach to dealing with joint pain. Is it time you got a second opinion? Call QC Kinetics now and wake up to a life without pain. Call QC Kinetics at 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Finally, it's Super Bowl week.
Let's get it.
Happy Monday. Welcome in the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty and Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. We welcome everybody in. Again, the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Kev, happy Monday. How was your weekend?
Solid, man. Very solid. I did nothing. Matter of fact, I take that back. I did. We went to go see Scream 5.
What'd you think?
It was good. It was real good. It was real good. You were right. And you're not even a movie guy.
I'm not, but I really liked it. Now, again, it's Scream. It's the same exact as, some of the other Screams. I mean, the concept doesn't change. If you know anything about the Scream movies, of course.
Stab, stab, stab.
Yeah.
Stab, stab, stab.
No, there's a guy that wears a mask that kills people. That's the, the synopsis of it. But I enjoyed it. In fact, what's random, it was a Scream weekend. Nora and I, we didn't mean to, but yesterday was just kind of a lay-around day. We watched all Screams 1 through 4. We didn't mean to. It was just like on YouTube TV sometimes, like it'll play something and it'll just go right into something else. So we just left it on there. I'm like, well, we just watched Scream 1. We might as well watch Scream 2. And then, had some wine, ate some dinner, watched Scream 3, and then we finished the night with Scream 4. It was so stupid and random, but hey, it is what it is. But it is Super Bowl week. I'm excited. And yes, for even someone like me, who's a Cincinnati Bengals hater, if you will, it's a big game feel. And even I, who's not a fan of the Bengals, am excited. We'll have our predictions. Are we giving our predictions today? Are they a late week thing? What is the rules on predictions as far as Super Bowl is concerned?
I have my sheet, so I'm ready whenever you're ready to do your
I will give you my right off the bat. 31-28 Bengals. I'm picking the Bengals to win this.
Kenner.
Now, it can change. It's like a WWE boxing.
You said 31 what?
31-28, Evan McPherson. Game-winning field goal to win. I'm even calling the shot.
Let me put the date on here because
the time.
you said you might change. So this is February 7th. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm picking the Bengals to win this. For every deficiency and flaw we could talk about the Bengals, there's just as many equal deficiencies and flaws when it comes to the Rams. But yes, right now, I don't think that people should be locked into their predictions. Like it's kind of like your fantasy, submitting your fantasy roster for the week. You have until a certain time to do it. I don't know what the rule is, but as of right now, it's just kind of like on a Tuesday or Wednesday when you're thinking about how you're going to set your fantasy lineup that week. You have an idea in your head what it's going to be, but you have until kickoff or at least a little bit before kickoff to get that submitted. That's kind of where I'm at right now, Kev. For me, it's one of those where right now, the way I feel, the Bengals going to get this thing, 31-28.
Wow, look at
But it could change. I don't have to have my final one till later in the week. Bengals fans could end up annoying me, and I'm saying, you know what? I'm Team Stafford, baby, and just go from there.
Well, I'm putting it on wax. I'm not changing my pick. My pick is 27-14 Rams. That is my pick, and I'm sticking to it. That is my
no
pick.
love for Evan McPherson, huh?
I'm just saying. That's my pick. That's my pick. 27-14 Rams.
McPherson's put up 4 field goals a game. That's pretty damn impressive. Like
boot work.
That's very impressive for a rookie, especially. But all right, I wanted to open up the show today again, just with a little Bengals theme. We'll even kick the Bengals theme off again. But I want to do a little Kinner's 3 and Out.
Okay.
3 and Out edition here for the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, mainly because, I want to kick it off with the Super Bowl theme here. 3 and Out when it comes to the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'm not talking about their offense, okay? Talking about, because if we did a 3 and Out, I don't have McPherson to bail me out like Burrow's 3 and Outs. It's not 3 and Outs, but you see what I mean. But we're going to go 3 and Out. Super Bowl edition, Kev. I'm going to ask, I'm curious your takes on this, but I'm going to throw these your way and you knock them out of the park. But Kinner's 3 and Out Super Bowl edition here on this Monday as we get you set for the Super Bowl this Sunday. By the way, former Bengal Reggie Williams will be joining us at 4:30. He played in 2 Super Bowls, so I'm excited to get his take on everything coming up this Sunday for your Cincinnati Bengals. Real quick, Jim, get inside, distracted. Mike Haywood, 31-24 Rams.
30 what?
31-24 Rams.
24 Rams.
Is what
Mike Haywood.
Yep. 31-24 Rams, Mike Haywood. And then Ron Broadstock says 34-24 Bengals.
Okay.
So he's picking the Bengals to win this, as am I, Bengals fans. Now you're probably pissed because I pick against the Bengals every week and they always prove me wrong. So maybe this is a little trick I'm trying to pull on all of you. Maybe, just maybe. 3 and Out Super Bowl edition. We are off and rolling. Kev, which team is more dependent on their quarterback to win this Sunday? Not as a whole, not to build, not the overall season success of a team, but for this Sunday, when you consider how both teams are built, how both teams got here, which team can't afford to have their quarterback have an off evening, I should say? Which team is more dependent on their quarterback to pick up a win this Sunday?
Burrow and the Bengals. I think that because the amount of stars and the amount of playmakers on the Rams defense, we can talk about how good the Cincinnati Bengals defense has been, especially in the playoffs and everything like that, and then the ability to force turnovers. But nobody on that Cincinnati Bengals defense is going to be wearing a gold jacket one day. Aaron Donald will be wearing a gold jacket one day. Von Miller will be wearing a gold jacket one day. Potentially Jalen Ramsey will be wearing a gold jacket one day. Those playmakers versus that offensive line, especially with Von Miller and Aaron Donald, they can cause havoc. They can cause strip sacks. I mean, Von Miller is a former Super Bowl MVP for what he did to Cam Newton in that offensive line for the Carolina Panthers. And Cam Newton was the MVP of the league that year. They were the number 1 rushing team, and they were top 5 in passing that year. Like, he caused havoc across that offensive line for the Panthers. So Von Miller and that D-line, they can cause havoc. So they're going to need Joe Burrow to have a good game versus that, because Stafford can have a quote-unquote average game and they can still win. But I don't think that Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals can have an average game from him and win the game.
So me and you are on opposite sides on this, and here's why. Like, I disagree. I just think that the Bengals have already proven throughout this playoff run that they don't have to rely on Joe Burrow to have big games for them to win it. Now, we could start really dissecting this and saying, well, what's considered a big game? Do we need a big full 4 quarters, just big moments? I mean, you could really dissect it, but I don't think Joe Burrow has had as impressive as a playoff run as people make it out to be. That's not a shot. That's just he went almost a full 2 games worth of quarters without throwing a touchdown. He didn't, after his touchdown in the second quarter against the Raiders in the wild card round, he didn't throw a touchdown again until the Chiefs game, in the second quarter right before halftime. So that's why for me, I'm like, that was 7.5 full quarters, almost a full 2 games almost without him throwing a touchdown. And they still are heading to the Super Bowl. So that's why, and again, you could also ask yourself, what's the definition of a big game from your quarterback as far as that's concerned? But I think both are very similar in how they play. I mean, just like every team, you're dependent on your quarterback to make plays. But at the same time, I honestly think it's the Rams. I guess we do agree. Oh, no, you said the Bengals. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I think the Rams are more dependent on their quarterback than the Cincinnati Bengals, mainly because, like I've said, every week, even last week against San Francisco, it wasn't the prettiest of games, but Matthew Stafford still finished 337 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a rating of 96.5. In the game against the Buccaneers, again, having to hold off that comeback, his team just turning the ball over left and right, throws for 366 yards, and they narrowly win 30-27. He had to throw for 337 to narrowly beat San Francisco by 3. They blew out Arizona. He only threw for 202 yards, but they only passed the ball 17 times. They didn't really need him in that game, but that game was so far out of reach. But if you're in a close game, the Rams need Stafford to make big plays. I think that the Bengals have already proven Joe Burrow, they don't need him to be Patrick Mahomes to win them football games. So that's why I'm saying that. Plus, I think that both are fairly even, mainly because they both rely on their defense to get key stops and rely on special teams to, obviously, the field goals and by Evan McPherson for the Bengals. So I think that the Rams are more dependent on their quarterback than the Bengals. But you brought up a lot of good points as well. They're both really quarterback dependent, but I think that the Bengals that the Rams are more dependent on their quarterback than the Bengals, mainly because look how many picks they had to give up to get Matthew Stafford, and look at the biggest difference between last year and this year is Matthew Stafford, and they're in the Super Bowl and 4 quarters, maybe overtime away from winning one.
You doing that overtime?
You never know. I said 31-28 when it was my score prediction. I don't know if that's an overtime or not. All right. Coming up next here on Kenner's 3 and Out, which team faces more pressure to win this Sunday, Kev? Which team feel like both teams you feel that angst throughout the week and that nervousness you want to win, but which team is feeling that pressure the most to win it?
Without a doubt, it's the Rams. Without a doubt. We talked about this back in before. We talked about this in July, that when they made a trade for Matthew Stafford, the bare minimum for them was to make it to the Super Bowl, because everything that they did prior to trading for him, that's where they got. They gave up their Jared Goff to get him to win the Super Bowl. So I'm going to be lenient, quote unquote, and say that they needed to at least make the Super Bowl. But the reality is, man, it's a Super Bowl or bust situation because of everything that they gave up to get all these big time name players and big time impact players and everything like that. These are stars of the NFL, and you have Stafford now as the quarterback and everything like that. It is a must-win situation for them. With the Cincinnati Bengals, with them making the playoffs, with them getting their first playoff victory in 31 years, and them getting their first playoff victory on the road, like, they've been playing with house money since they got that win over the Raiders, to be perfectly honest. I think they were playing with house money going into the playoffs, but, I think everybody can agree, like, yeah, they're playing with house money definitely now after beating the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, you win the game, you want to win it, you want to make the most of your opportunity, but the most pressure is on the Rams, in my opinion, because of everything that the organization has done to put themselves in a position to win it. And let's be clear, man, they are playing at home. They're at home.
So, again, I think there's more pressure on the Bengals, and here's why. Look at the NFC. You just had Tom Brady retire. Aaron Rodgers, the rumors are that Aaron Rodgers could potentially be heading to Nashville to play with the Titans. Outside of that, the best quarterback remaining in the NFC is who? Kyler Murray or Dak Prescott, which those are two very solid quarterbacks, but nothing like what's living over in the AFC. Mm-hmm. So, although I think that the future of the Bengals is brighter as far as the longevity of their core, I think that it's going to be more difficult for them to get back to a Super Bowl than the Rams. Yes, there's pressure on the Rams to win it this year. Yes, this is the second Super Bowl appearance for Sean McVay as head coach with a different quarterback, which is also pretty impressive. To get 2 different quarterbacks to the Super Bowl, pretty dang good. But I think that they are built to still succeed. We could see Bengals Rams again next year. Who knows? But the point is that the NFC is not very good at this point. It's not very good even if Aaron Rodgers comes back, but it's definitely going to weaken significantly if Aaron Rodgers leaves. Seattle doesn't look as strong. There seems to be a lot of discord in the front office of the Cardinals. There's some talk, by the way, I don't think there's anything major here, but Kyler Murray apparently took out all Cardinals references of his social media accounts. Like, he took out every picture that had him in a Cardinals jersey is removed. He doesn't have Cardinals quarterback anymore. Now, this is a report that broke about 2 hours ago. Again, I know it seems like nothing, but we know how these young players today, they kind of, they put their messages out there. This could be a little temper tantrum by him. My point is, I don't think the NFC is that good, and I didn't think it was that good even with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers there this year. But now there could be no Aaron Rodgers. There's already no Tom Brady. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys are solid, but they're not better than the Rams. So to me, I think that there's a better chance that the Rams get back a year from now than the Bengals, even though I think that the Bengals could be better than the Rams a year from now. And you look at the AFC, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, possibly Aaron Rodgers now. Lamar and the Ravens will be healthier and better next year. Baker's not elite, but Baker and the Browns will be healthy and back next year. If the Steelers end up pulling off some crazy-ass deal to get a Deshaun Watson, and let's be honest, if they get your guy, Jimmy Garoppolo, that you don't really care for, but the Steelers are significantly better with Jimmy Garoppolo than what they were with Big Ben this year. All right, that's what's crazy. Not a better quarterback, but better than an aged Big Ben. So I think there's more pressure on the Bengals this year to win this because I think it's way tougher for them to get back, and who knows if they will get back. I know you could say that for both, but the path to the Super Bowl is significantly easier for the Rams moving forward than it will be for the Cincinnati Bengals, in my opinion.
I feel you. That's some good points, but you guys got to think about everything that the Rams did. Forget the Stafford stuff. Let's just remove the Stafford stuff. Let's remove the fact that they're still paying part of Jared Goff's contract. Let's forget that he was a first overall pick and everything like that. They traded him away. They gave up a ton to get him. They did the same thing with Jalen Ramsey. They did the same thing with Von Miller. Like, they have no picks, like in the top 4 rounds. Like, we all get enamored with picks in the first round because these are the guys that we see every Saturday and everything like that. But the Rams, they do such a great job in their draft preparation that they are able to find Jordan Fuller's from Ohio State. And he's coming back, by the way, from concussion protocol, by the way, for the Super Bowl and everything like that. So for me, it's the simple fact that they're all in now. They're all in now. I don't think that they're thinking about next season. And I think they're thinking about winning it now because every move that they made has been this year. It hasn't been thinking about the future. They're not thinking about the future because technically right now they don't have a future because all the other teams have their future picks. Yeah, they can get rid of the players that they got and get some now, but they're all in for this year. So I think the pressure is all on them to come away with it because, to be perfectly honest, if you do all this and it's all for naught and you just lose the Super Bowl, then people are going to say, well, y'all did the exact same thing with Jared Goff. Y'all in the exact same position. And now you don't even have those picks to get more players or better players or younger players. Now, let's not act like Von Miller is 25 years old. I think Von Miller's like 33 years old. Aaron Donald, he's not a spring chicken. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Ramsey in the middle of his second contract. He's a cornerback. Normally, big-time cornerbacks, they make that transition to safety and everything like that. Well, why would they make a transition to safety with him when they got Jordan Fuller and Taylor Rapp? You know what I'm saying? So I think the pressure is on them big time to get this done and to capitalize and also to show other teams across the NFL that there's more than one way to build a Super Bowl champion. And that's partially why I'm kind of rooting for the Rams, because I do get sick and tired of the same old, like, well, we're going to find our quarterback, we're going to get a great offensive coordinator, and we're going to win this way. I do like seeing other teams roll the dice and try a different way. So, and part of me is like, well, I want to see this come to fruition and see this actually happen. So it'll give other teams to go all in and everything like that, as opposed to, like you talk about, misering their money, like the Jacksonville Jaguars, and saying, no, we're not going to spend no money, even though we got a rookie quarterback. Let's not go get weapons and everything like that. I think if the Rams do this and pull this off, it'll spark the interest in other teams to say, you know what? They spent big money. They traded away draft picks. They pulled a quote unquote NBA style in the NFL. We can do it too. So that's partially why I'm rooting for the Rams.
Now, and one more time to counter, I definitely agree. If you're narrowing it down to a vacuum of just this season alone, but keep in mind the Rams could lose this Super Bowl, win it next year, and it still have been worth it. So, like, let's say they win it this year and get back to the Super Bowl and lose next year. I mean, what is your expectation for this group? It's to win one, and
they got to get one at least.
But it's not like they're blowing it up after this year. This reminds me of that Tom Brady run where you knew you were going to get at least 2 good years of Tom Brady to the Bucs, and that's what I feel like this Rams group is built for 2 years, for this year and next. So that's why I'm like, yes, there's But like, if you're talking about big picture, if when we look back, like right now, if you look at the Bucks taking a chance to bring Tom Brady in, was it worth it? Yes, you got a Super Bowl. You got a Super Bowl, so it's worth it. So if the Rams, if they lose this to the Bengals, their story's not done. Their window is only one more season after this with the contracts they have on hand. Aaron Donald, 30 years old, as you talk about. Jalen Ramsey has another year, maybe 2 of elite level, DB play and that type of thing. Von Miller, obviously old, but again, still playing at a high level. Could still probably give you another full year like this year. I just don't think that the pressure's on to win it, but I think that the Bengals have to be feeling some kind of internal pressure because, man, like the Rams are like, okay, we lose this, that's fine. We see a path to get back. The Bengals, there's no path to get back to the Super Bowl that you can feel confident about. You have to go through a gauntlet. The AFC, you're lucky you went through Derek Carr and Ryan Tannehill the first 2 games of the Super Bowl. You proved a lot of people wrong about the Patrick Mahomes thing. That was super. But imagine if you had to beat a Josh Allen, if you had to beat a Lamar Jackson, or an Aaron, let's just say you had to beat a Josh Allen wild card round. Then you had to go right into an Aaron Rodgers and the Titans the next round, and then Patrick Mahomes right after that. Your defense is going to be exhausted. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying is I think that their path is way more difficult moving forward. I think the Rams have a chance to get back. I agree with you. If the Rams end up not getting a Super Bowl out of this year or next, holy moly. But I don't think I don't think the narrative of the McVay Stafford move all comes down to this one. Last one here on 3 and Out. Who has the better quarterback, wide receiver, running back trio, Kev? The Bengals with Burrow, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, or the Rams with Stafford, Kupp, and Akers?
Whoo-wee. Let me think about this. Obviously, running back goes to Joe Mixon. You can't be on IR 16 of 17 weeks, and then your first half, you play good, and then in the second half, you basically fumble 2 times and almost cost your team the game. Cam Akers did have a good game versus the Niners and everything like that. But I'm going to get at the Joe Mixon. Wide receivers, you got to go with the Rams because, the best receiver in the league, triple crown winner with Cooper Kupp. So you got to go with the Rams. So I guess it all really comes down to Joey B or Stafford. And when I think about on an individual basis, I say Stafford. No, as an individual, I think a Joey B is a better player. But when I think about the matchup, I say Stafford because we got to think who they're playing against. I think that the Rams defense, not only defensive line, the linebackers, but secondary is better than the Cincinnati Bengals secondary. So you got a better wide receiver core going up against a quote unquote, not saying they're lesser, but a quote unquote lesser DB core. So I'm going to give the matchup to the Rams.
This one was tough. By the way, if you were told you had to pick between one of these trios to lead your team for a year and you have the second pick,
golden.
I still sleep beautiful the night before. If you tell me that I have the second pick of a trio draft and the person who picked first picked Burrow, Chase, and Mixon, and you're stuck with Stafford, Kupp, and Akers, yeah, poor you. And the other way around too. If someone takes Stafford, Kupp, and Akers, and you're stuck with Burrow, Chase, and Mixon, you're all right too. I don't think you can go wrong with either. I just think I would go. It's a flip of the coin. Kupp is significantly better than Chase. And that's not a shot at Jamar Chase. That's just how freaking. Did you look at the numbers of Kupp this year? They're like record-breaking numbers, like
Jerry Rice numbers, dog.
And that's okay. So and by the way, I love Jamar Chase, even though he made me eat a lot of crow. The kid is fan-freaking-tastic, man. Like the Bengals aren't here without his contributions this year. It was a hell of a draft pick. They ignored the noise and the guys like me and everything else who doubted it. The fantastic pick. He's a fantastic wide receiver. But again, it's all in the scope of the how you look at it. Are we talking long-term, short-term? For right now, I'm going to give the slight edge to the Rams because I like McVay slightly better than Zach Taylor to lead this offense. We've seen how explosive both teams are. I'm going to give a slight edge to the Rams, but again, you're not wrong by picking Burrow, Chase, and Mixon. I just really like Stafford, Kupp, and Akers as a whole. Akers, how about him coming back and doing what he's been able to do?
Crazy, man. Crazy. Like nobody in a million years thought that you could tear your Achilles tendon and then still come back in the same
That's
season.
A season ending. Apparently that is what we call a regular season ending injury.
Think about it. Think about like the guys who've had their career ended. Like obviously this is in the early 90s, but Isaiah Thomas, when he tore his career was over. Even Kobe Bryant, when he tore his, he was never the same player again. Like this injury cripples dudes, and he came back and is playing in the Super Bowl. And now they only came back, like, once the playoffs started, he's getting 15 to 20 carries a game.
So, by the way, shout out to Michael Holland on Twitter. He's one of these soft Bengals fans I told you about. Kenner, I love how you had to reach way out there on that which team is under more pressure take. Wow, man, the question was about here and now. Michael's telling me what the question was about when I wrote the damn question. That's what Michael's trying to do. Michael's trying to tell me what the question is about when I wrote the damn thing. Michael, you're funny. You're adorable, man, really. He goes on to say, you made it about the future so you could spin it. Anything to trash the Bengals and Houday Nation. What are you talking about? That's called common sense. You are a moron if you think that the Bengals have a better chance of getting back to the Super Bowl with how stacked the AFC is. And the Bengals are one of the reasons the AFC is stacked, by the way. Okay, no one in the AFC should feel like they have the easiest path to the Super Bowl. I'm saying it's more difficult for the Bengals to get back next year because of how stacked the AFC is. It's as simple as that. You don't know when you'll be back. There's a reason that no one repeats. No one repeats as Super Bowl champs. The Patriots, I believe, are the last team to do it, Kev. Like, you don't repeat. There's teams that get their back-to-back years, and maybe the Bengals are one of those teams that gets back next year back-to-back. I even said there's a good chance that the Bengals-Rams, we could see part 2 next year, possibly. I think it's unlikely, especially if the reports of Aaron Rodgers to the Titans, if that picks up, or Aaron Rodgers to the AFC in general picks up. The Rams are almost a shoo-in to get back to the damn Super Bowl as long as age doesn't catch up with his roster. It's as simple as that. You don't need to get that upset every time I say something that slightly goes against your team. You know how they say act like you've been there before? Act like you've been there before, because not just because you're in the Super Bowl doesn't mean you're free from any kind of criticism. I picked your damn team to win. Stop being soft. Go elsewhere. It's not that hard. I didn't say anything bad about your team. I complimented your team, and they're one of the reasons that the AFC is so stacked is because of the Cincinnati Bengals. Team like Buffalo, especially the Chiefs now, the Ravens, the Browns, the Steelers, all the Chargers with Justin Herbert. All of those teams have the Bengals on their list of, oh crap, to get to the Super Bowl, that's one of the teams we have to get through. Mm-hmm. I'm not denying that. I'm not spinning anything. You're making my head spin with the stupidity in which you stretched my take to fit your narrative, which is being the victim. Get over yourself, bro. That's all I got to say. 518-1410. Let's see. There's more. More people are mad. Shocker. Let's see. Someone told me I was annoying. I am annoying. Let's see where that came from. I think it was, where's my guy, Doug? Doug Morgan says, you get on my nerves with that take. He goes on to talk about Joe Burrow. He's made the plays he's needed to behind the worst O-line in football. Let's be clear here. This is about earlier, me saying which team was more dependent on their quarterback. It was actually, again, a compliment to your team that you're not so dependent on your quarterback to win football games. That's how good of a team the Bengals are. They haven't needed Joe Burrow to play at an MVP-like level to win these football games. That's a good thing. If you become a team that is so dependent on your quarterback, you risk losing game like the Bills. Their quarterback or nothing. And it was nothing that day. It was all quarterback. 400+ yards, 4 touchdowns, and they still lost because it was quarterback or nothing. Their defense couldn't get a stop. They couldn't do anything. You think that Joe Burrow played a better second half than the first half against the Chiefs, but it was the defense. All right, the defense is the one that stepped up in the second half. Okay, and that's okay. That's a good thing to have. Joe Burrow sleeps better at night than Josh Allen because Joe Burrow knows, man, if I have a slightly off day, my defense is going to take care of me. My kicker is going to take care of me. My running back, Joe Mixon, is going to take care of me. Why do you guys got to be so soft? All I said is that I think that the Rams are more dependent on their quarterback than the Bengals are. How is that a bad thing? Kev, please tell me how that's a bad thing. They are conditioned to take everything I say and get offended by it. It's the most unreal thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Houday Nation, what's up? It's Kev Nash right here.
Remember when I told you pick subject to change? I picked the Bengals to win 31-28 against the Rams.
All right, it is now 3-31. Has your pick changed?
If these guys keep it up.
Oh, you'll show them.
Oh, yeah. Kev Nash, Justin Kinner with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Aye. The Bengals did not play good in that first half against the Chiefs. But speaking of bad football, did you watch the Pro Bowl yesterday?
No,
I don't think a lot of people did, but a lot of people had an opinion about it. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Bengals, that's the team we're gonna cheer to victory. Touchdown Bengals, get some points up on that board and win a game for Cincinnati.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
What's done more to improve overall health and wellness, modern medicine or personal hygiene? Actually, it's both. But considering that bathing went mainstream in the 1800s and brushing your teeth in the 1900s, isn't it time for something new, like cleaning your nose? After all, your nose is the body's air filter for trapping dirt and germs, the first line of defense against allergens, bacteria, and viruses from getting into your lungs. But how do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage isn't medicine, it's more like plumbing. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril to the very back of the nose where germs can get trapped and multiply, and then out the other nostril, flushing out mucus and microbes so you can breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. Join over 2 million others and find out for yourself how refreshing and easy to use Navage is. At Navage.com, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Are you hiring? Then check out Indeed. Schedule virtual interviews and talk to candidates right from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. I'm a speed bump. Did you hear what I said? I'm a speed bump. And if you have cut rate car insurance, the cost to reattach your muffler could really be a bump in the road. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Gentlemen, now you can find the best brands and fits for you without even trying. Just follow these easy instructions. Step 1. Shop a personalized store that does all the work for you by customizing a selection for your taste and body. Step 2. Level up your closet with the best brands and fits with little to no effort. Not trying has never looked so good. Introducing Stitch Fix Freestyle, your personalized store. We're so you.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus, home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well, medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hey guys, if you love football, Sunday, February 13th is a big day. And if you'd like to score points of your own, Monday, February 14th is even bigger. Order our Midnight Romance Special and have it delivered on Thursday or Friday of that week. It includes roses, Esther Price candy, and a bottle of wine. Order at firsttheflorist.com. That's F-U-R-S-T, theflorist.com. First Florist and Greenhouses, Dayton's largest family-owned florist and greenhouses at 1306 Troy Street since 1905. Order our Midnight Romance Special now.
March Madness and the Big Hoopla are back in Dayton with the 2022 NCAA First Four Men's Basketball Tournament, Tuesday, March 15 and Wednesday, March 16. Experience the madness live at UD Arena, following all protocols to ensure a safe and great time by all. The road starts here, March 15th and 16th at UD Arena. America's most passionate college basketball fans. Get your tickets and donate to be a part of our mission at DaytonHoopla.com.
The Dayton Fire Department is hiring and accepting applications beginning January 4th, running through February 20th. If you have a determined attitude and are looking for an exciting job with great pay, superior training, with college credits available after training, excellent benefits, and a rewarding career, then the Dayton Fire Department needs you. Visit joindaytonfire.com for more information today. Minorities especially encouraged to apply. The DFD is an equal opportunity employer. The Dayton Fire Department. Come live the dream.
Need a U.S. passport? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Visit one of our convenient auto title locations in Huber Heights, Clayton, downtown, Moraine, and Centerville. Make us your first destination before you travel abroad. No appointments ever needed. We do passports.com for more info.
Make the big game even bigger with your new TV and sound system from Audio Etc. There is nothing better than a home theater or high-fidelity music system from Audio Etc. 4K is amazing, but just imagine the 8K 8K experience. Come to Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom today and experience 8K TVs and projectors. Audio Etc. has tons of new inventory in stock, while everybody else is back ordered or out of stock. Get special deals on TVs, short throw projectors for 100-inch and 130-inch, and Sonos soundbars from $399, all the way to high-end Dream systems. Audio Etc. can bring any game home. It's better than being there. You have to see it to believe the incredible quality of the picture and sound. It's all about perspective. Audio Etc. has the brands, the deals, and the excitement. Audio Etc. powered by Klipsch, Bowers & Wilkins, SVS, Marantz, Denon, Sony, and a whole list of high-performance brands that you've probably never heard of.
Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Ready for a chicken sandwich that's a kick above the rest? Then Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken has just what you're looking for, with a spicy chicken sandwich combo at a great price. The kick you crave is here with a premium all-white meat chicken breast that's spicy marinated and hand-breaded with a kick. Served with creamy chipotle ranch all on a brioche bun, it's the chicken sandwich others aspire to be. Get the chicken sandwich perfected with the spicy chicken sandwich combo at a great price. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Fed up with companies selling your data? DuckDuckGo is on it. They help millions of people like you take back their privacy online. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified. Fed up with companies selling your data? DuckDuckGo is on it. They help millions of people like you take back their privacy online. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Doesn't that just give Browns and Bengals fans PTSD? Seriously.
That sound means hope.
That is the sound of February for Bengals and Browns fans, usually. Right? Like, I know the Browns aren't in the playoffs, and I know that, they're definitely not in the Super Bowl, and they got to watch the other team from Ohio, participate in the Super Bowl this week. But yes, I was laughing when I came across that draft chime a little bit ago. I started thinking, man, usually at this time, when I look back at previous year's notes of where we're at this time, it's about the Bengals top 10, the Browns top 10. They're usually top, you know what I mean? Like, so it's very strange to be talking about one of those teams in a Super Bowl and the other team's draft pick is they're such in the middle of the pack that it's not one of those like draft picks that you're like passionate about. It's not a franchise defining pick. Like last year, many believed, or at least the big conflict was those that felt very strongly about taking a Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts. Obviously closer to the draft, it became 99% Jamar Chase. No one cared about Kyle Pitts, but at the time, everyone talked about Pitts and Chase's. Man, it really comes down between those two. Even though Penei Sewell was viewed as this, biggest offensive line prospect to come out in quite some time, a franchise-defining pick that can really alter your offensive line moving forward in a positive way. And so that's really where it was. That's where a lot of the passion stemmed from last year. Then you compounded that on top of the fact that Burrow had that season-ending injury a season ago, and how it was very obvious what direction the Bengals needed to go in as far as what need they needed to address. They got it right. I got it wrong. Many doubters got it wrong. And that's fine. That's what makes this storyline so fun. So it is what it is. But with where I'm at right now, the Cincinnati Bengals being in the Super Bowl, it has just been a lot of crow eating. And, I get a good kick out of people that say, all you do is bash the Bengals. Well, to be fair, I usually call out a team. I give you my analysis, my opinion on a team, and people are sensitive. And when you tell them something about their team that they don't like, they put that in the bashing category. Right, Kev? Like if you, man, I don't know who you think is going to win this Super Bowl. Kev, I don't know, man. They have Von Miller, they have Aaron Donald, they have Matthew Stafford, they have Cooper Kupp, the best receiver in football, they have Cam Akers, they have Odell Beckham Jr., they have Sean McVay, who many view as the best head coach in football. I think I'm going to pick the Rams. Oh, there he goes again. Bashing the Bengals. Look at me, just bashing no, that just means I'm picking the other team. But anytime you say anything slightly against a team, it's automatically chalked up as bashing. And that gets on my damn nerves. As if, like I said, I went back. I pulled my contract today, which, by the way, signed a contract extension. Sorry for you guys that don't like me.
Woo, big money.
Oh, yeah. Ching ching. I'm just making a lot of money.
I mean, you just bought a house. You just signed a new contract. Big money Kenner.
Bashing the Bengals pays off, apparently. Made a career out of it. I bought a house with it. So there you go. But no, it drives me crazy how soft some fans can be. Not all fans, but some. My God, look. I picked the Bengals to win, by the way, the Super Bowl. Most people are going to wait and they're going to draw out the Super Bowl prediction and the score. I really like the Rams. I think that they're that team that spends a lot of money. They bring in a lot of big names. They have the sexier roster. But overall, I love the flair and the excitement and the enthusiasm from a team that's youth-filled and that a team that doesn't know any better. Like I said earlier, I believe that there's more pressure on the Bengals to win this than the Rams because I believe that it is way more difficult for the Bengals to get back to this Super Bowl. You're not promised anything. The Browns a year ago won a playoff game on the road at Pittsburgh, had a great year. And they go out and they just load up their roster. They added Newsome. They loaded up their roster in the secondary. They went out and got Johnson from the Rams, by the way, who was a part of the best secondary, or part of the best defense in football last year, as Hill was. They added those elements to the pass rush that they have, built very similar to the Rams. Defense not even close to being as good as the Rams, but on paper, they were following the same model as the Rams. And I thought the sky's the limit. This team is not only going to be back in the playoffs, they're going to win this division. It's going to come down between them and the Ravens. They are going to, they won a playoff game last year, almost beat the Chiefs, and were, a half a quarter away from getting to a AFC title game. Man, the Browns are going to take that next step. Well, that didn't happen. They didn't win the division. They didn't even finish in second. Luckily, they didn't finish in last, but they didn't even make the playoffs. And the team that I said was going to finish last, that would either be between the Bengals or your Pittsburgh Steelers. Somehow, both of those damn teams end up making the playoffs. One of those damn teams is in the freaking Super Bowl. It's just been a lot of damn crow eating for me. But expect the unexpected when it comes to the National Football League. It's unpredictable, especially in the AFC. When you have so many great quarterbacks like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert and now Joe Burrow. I mean, and there's talks and rumors of that the Titans, Aaron Rodgers bought a home, in Nashville. That broke over the weekend, and that he's prepping for his transition over to Tennessee. So, that could be it. And we talked about this last week. Nashville makes a ton of sense for Aaron Rodgers. Like when you look at Julio Jones, you look at the fact they have A.J. Brown, they have Derrick Henry, great head coach, they have a solid defense. I mean, it would easily, as good of teams as he's played on with the Packers, the Titans would instantly become the most talented team he's played on since coming to the NFL. And guess how many vets would follow him at the vet minimum to play with him? It'd be the Tom Brady effect this time in Nashville as we saw in Tampa. We will see that. So that was my point, was that it was going to be that I think there's more pressure on the Bengals because although the sky's the limit for them, although they are all youth-filled, I mean, Joe Burrow in year 2, Jamar Chase in year 1, T. Higgins in year 2. I mean, Joe Mixon's still young. I mean, all these guys are within their core. They have wrapped up for another couple of years. Hendrickson they have on the defensive side for a while. Hopefully they get this deal done with Bates. They have Hilton for another year. They have their guys, and they have more cap space than any other team in the playoffs right now, not remaining of the teams coming into the playoffs. So they have all of the means to take this potential Super Bowl winning caliber roster and take it an even step further. But like I said, if you're asking me which team's facing more pressure, it's to me the Cincinnati Bengals, because while most people will look at it that way, I take that into account, yes, but I also know that the path to get there is going to be a bloodbath to get there. Wow, Matthew Stafford, okay, if you look at who he would have to go through. I mean, if you're talking about Matthew Stafford having to get through Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, maybe a Kirk Cousins, Jordan Love, all right, Justin Fields, aged Matt Ryan. Who the hell's Carolina's quarterback? I don't even know who the hell Carolina's quarterback is.
Donald.
Okay, Darnold.
Darnold.
Donald, whatever. Whoever the Buccaneers get, I saw a report today, could be Baker Mayfield, by the way. Crazy report today. That would be so funny for Ron, by the way. So if you're telling me that Matthew Stafford and the Rams have to get through that list of quarterbacks, I'm sorry. It's not even an opinion. It's just common sense that the Rams would have an easier path back to the Super Bowl to redeem themselves if they fall up short against the Bengals this week. If the Bengals lose it this week, they may not get back to the Super Bowl with this core. And I don't think that that's that crazy of a hot take, mainly because Aaron Rodgers is way better than Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow could be better than Aaron Rodgers by the time his career's all said and done. But right now, I'm not going to give him that anointment just because have a lot of Bengals fans in the area. You're not promised anything. Aaron Rodgers hasn't been back to a Super Bowl in over a decade. And so nothing's promised. Nothing is promised. And if you're telling me which team I feel more has a better chance to get back, that's the Rams, which means takes pressure off of their plate. Not saying that they're not going to feel the pressure to win this weekend. I'm just saying I think that the pressure is there to win, but the pressure is going to be there to win because it's always pressure to win. But in the back of their heads, they know they have another shot. I don't know if after this season, the Bengals definitely will never think they don't have a shot. Many thought they didn't have a shot this year, including me, and they can get back. But are you going to really have to think? I mean, let's not act like the path to the Super Bowl has been the hardest for them. It hasn't. They beat Patrick Mahomes, which is the toughest task, and they freaking nailed it, by the way. I'm not taking anything away from that. But again, you have a division, you have a conference with Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, all right, possibly Aaron Rodgers now, Lamar Jackson. You know, if the Steelers end up getting a Jimmy Garoppolo, not as good as those other quarterbacks, but he makes the Pittsburgh Steelers way better. Maybe Deshaun Watson ends up becoming a Pittsburgh Steeler. Maybe Russell Wilson finds a way out of Seattle and ends up a Pittsburgh Steeler. Who knows? The bottom line is I'm not bashing anything. I didn't even think that was a take that was going to get the reaction I got. And then right away, people have to jump all over my case. Unreal. I picked your damn team to win. What's the problem? 518-1410, Kev, who we have?
We have Mike on line too.
Mike, how are you? Welcome. Are you a Bengals fan?
I am the Bengals fan that you were so eloquently trashing earlier tonight.
Oh, which one? There's many.
You apologize.
Oh, hold on. What?
Michael Holland.
Oh, you're my Twitter guy.
You're right.
Okay.
So you share a take, and then we share an opinion of that take, and you get to literally call us names, personal attacks, things like that. That's how you roll, huh?
Okay. Well, I'm going to respond calmly here. You share your opinion, that's fine. But when it always has to come at me like, oh, man, you had to go way out of your way. Like you have to have this condescending tone with how you approach me on social media. And you want me to just answer back, hi, sir, how are you? That's a good point. I might think like you now. No, when you have the condescending tone, I'm not going to come at you calmly back.
You know what? You've been rambling. You've been rambling on and on and on and on. All right? I got stuff to do here. I got a life. Point is, first and foremost,
if you have a life, then go on with it. I'm not making you stay on hold. I appreciate that you're calling in, but if it's just a cry and bitch and moan, then that's
and you're horrible at that. Keep talking over me, man. Now I'm getting angry.
Get angry.
You're rude.
You're rude.
Horrible.
Where do you work? Where do you work, sir?
That is none of your damn business.
Well, you're lucky, because if I found out where you work, I would show up to your work and I would just be like, man, you're horrible at your job. Man, you're not good at your job. You're so horrible at your job. Pretty sure you wouldn't be so kind and
why are you even here?
Why are you even calling into a show you don't like? This is, I mean, bro, if I played this for you.
I called to let you do the right thing and apologize.
Why would I apologize to you when you were rude first, sir?
Names like that for your listeners. And this is
now, you're not my listeners. You're a listener who was rude first.
You got that contract. Let's see if there's a clause in there because, bro, you're not going to be around much longer.
Oh, what are you going to do? You're going to call my boss and say, he doesn't like my team?
I don't know who the hell you think you are talking to people like this. You're the one.
You talk to me a certain way first, sir. Hey,
because you thought so much of your own goddamn opinion. All right?
You didn't like my opinion. That's why you came at me the way you did.
Taking this way too far. I called to call me speaks to you, and you won't have it.
No, listen, sir. You called in to say, I'm
You're
calling in for you to
embarrassing
apologize
yourself,
to me.
and you're embarrassing your program right now. And I feel sorry for your co-host, brother. I hate you got to listen to this guy. But
Kev, I'm sorry too. My bad.
We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere.
Who? You still there?
You what? You had the day you deserve to have, and we'll go from there.
What does that
You're
even
ridiculous, you're rude, and you're horrible. I think you know what it means.
Man, were you not hugged enough as a child, Matthew? My goodness. Or Michael, whatever the hell your name is. Kev, this is the second straight week in a row where people tweet at me in a certain way and expect me to come back at them calmly. I came back at him the way I do everybody that comes at me a certain way. I'm not going to repeat last week's show. I'm not even mad. It is what it is. You're not always going to agree with me. Some people like him, but that's none of your business. Okay. He called in and wanted an apology because he's the one that has to come in and put what I say in quotations and has to mock what I'm saying because he doesn't like what I'm saying, and then has to tell me I'm horrible for it. So if I told you that your team, if I told you things about your team that you liked, would I still be horrible? No, it's just because you don't like what you hear right now. And that's fine. I'm not here to have a bad week in arguments with all of you. The Bengals are in the Super Bowl. That's what this is supposed to be about. You guys complain because I don't talk enough Bengals. Then when I talk Bengals, you don't like how I talk about the Bengals. Like, you can't have it both ways. And Kev, I do feel bad for you as well. Let's go to Mark. Mark, how are you? Do I need to play a Bengals song for you so that you're in a good mood? There we go. I hope you're nicer than the last caller.
Great, man. How you doing today, Kenner?
Kev and Kenner. I mean, Kev is over here trying not to die laughing. I think he wanted to agree with that last caller, but he kept it.
I don't understand what people want from you. I mean, come on. I mean, you do antagonize people a little bit, but that's what you do. I mean, everybody knows that.
To be fair, my opinion is what irritated him. I don't even think it was that crazy of a take. Like, I really don't. There's things I know I'm going to say that I know, okay, this is probably going to stir it up a little bit. That one, not even close to being at the top of my list. That wasn't even a stir the pot moment. It was as simple as, I don't even know which one it was. Kev, was it the one about which team is more quarterback dependent?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. And I don't even think it was that bad of a comment to say that, hey, he went almost 7 quarters without a touchdown and his team's still in the Super Bowl. That was complimenting the team as a whole. Like, it's not that hard. I don't get it why people get mad at that.
Hey, so I do got a question for you guys. You guys both will respond if you want. So, with the Chiefs being pretty much shut down to 6 points for 2 halves in 2 games, do you think that the Rams got something to worry about?
Oh, I definitely.
I know they got Cooper Kupp.
Oh, Kevin, I'll let you start. For one, they added Hill. Do the Bengals have the best position groups defensively of any position groups in football? No. But, man, it's like they make plays when they need to be making them the most. Like, the way they stepped up in the second half, they could have crumbled after how poor they played in that first half against the Chiefs. And I couldn't believe it. Like, yes, let's be like, the Chiefs made a lot of internal mistakes too, but the Bengals were also throwing a lot at them that were making them uncomfortable, take them out of their comfort zone. I'm not going to say it's all, the Chiefs played poor and that's why there's one. The Chiefs didn't play great, but I would say 60% of why they didn't play great was because the Bengals made them uncomfortable and took them out of their comfort zone. Kev, what your thoughts on the defense as far as how they match up with the Rams?
I think they match up pretty well. The thing about it is we got to take a look at Andy Reid. Take a look at Andy Reid in his NFC championship games and now his AFC championship games. The ones that they have lost, he got pass happy, super pass happy. McVay, for all the high flying that they did that first run with Goff and Todd Gurley and those guys and everything like that, they still ran the ball. And like you talked about in the first segment, they ran the ball like crazy versus the Cardinals. They were trying to run the ball and run the clock out versus Tampa Bay until Cam Akers decided to just cough it up left and right. So I don't think McVay will get into this pass happy situation because the Cincinnati Bengals want you to pass the ball. They want to have Von Bell smack a dude. They want Jesse Bates to smack a dude. They want one of their linebackers to tip the ball in the air. The Bengals pass defense is damn good. But I don't think Sean McVay is greedy enough. Like Andy Reid gets greedy. He gets pass happy. I don't think he'll do that. I think Sean McVay is in a situation where he knows, hey, man, we got to win. So whatever we got to do to win, we should be doing. If it's pass the ball 50 times, that's what it's going to do. If it's going to be run the ball 45 times and Cam Akers gets 30 carries and Sony Michel gets 15 carries, I think that's what they're going to do. I think Sean McVay, even though he's still a young coach, I think he's smart enough to realize you shouldn't get pass happy versus the Cincinnati Bengals defense, because when the Cincinnati Bengals got an opportunity to get their hands on the ball versus the Titans, they grabbed it. When they got a chance to get their hands on the ball against Kansas City, they grabbed it. Same thing against the Raiders. They picked the ball off. If I'm the Rams, I'm not messing around with that secondary and those linebackers. I'm going to try to run the ball at the Bengals if I'm the Rams, because it's been shown that the Cincinnati Bengals defense, linebackers and DBs make plays on the ball. So I know Cooper Kupp's great. I know OBJ's out there. I know all this. I know Stafford. But I would run the ball if I'm the Rams.
Mark, is that
There'll be more play action. There'll be more play action, I think, also. If Cam Akers can hold up.
If he can hold on to the ball.
Yeah, true. I think it's gonna be a great game, man. I can't wait. I'm getting crazy thinking about it. I can't wait till it actually happens.
Hey, let me ask you, Mark, because last week I asked, do people like the 2-week gap between the AFC, NFC title game and Super Bowl? I think when your team's not in it, it's not bad because like it's just 2 weeks of just more Super Bowl talk. But I think when your team's in it, do you like the 2-week gap, or did you want to hurry up and get to the damn game?
The only thing I don't like about the 2-week gap is the Pro Bowl.
We're going to get to the Pro Bowl in a moment.
I mean, come on, put flags on them guys. Just like, yeah, it is ridiculous. But no, I think it's kind of good for both teams because that gives people a chance to, get their bodies back in order and put on a show for everybody that we want to see. I mean, hopefully we get the best of the Bengals and the best of the Rams. And I think 2 weeks helps them with the injuries and, getting their body back right to play the game. So.
All right. Well, good stuff. I always enjoy a caller that's not calling in to tell me I suck. So thank you, Mark. And see, you're a Bengals fan, and you're not one of them sensitive Bengals fans like Michael. You like to have fun. You enjoy life, man. Man, that guy must be angry at everything in life. Holy smokes, man.
I agree 100%. You guys have a great day. Who day?
I'll give you a who day back. You're my favorite Bengals caller today. We've had two.
Charlie, where you at? We
all know how that first one went. Nah, look, Michael, I clearly irritated him, and I apologize. Kind of, I present my opinions a certain way. It's going to rub some people the wrong way. But in all seriousness, I'm not going to go on this rant because I want to get into the Pro Bowl here in a moment. But I just don't understand why they feel like they could tweet you or talk to you a certain way, and they think that because you're the host that you have to come back at them with a smile on your face, and say, that's a great point. I didn't think of it like that. No, it doesn't work that way. Like it's really not. Like you can't just talk to people however you want and then expect them to come back at you nicely. Oh, man, you trash your listeners. No, I trash the listeners that trash me. It's that simple. Childish? Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. Just saying. But, it is what it is. But, Michael, I'm sorry, man. Like, you clearly have had a bad day. Caught you at the wrong time. That's okay. But no, I'm pulling for your team. I'm a Browns fan. I'm pulling for your Cincinnati Bengals. I actually predicted for them to win, and it is what it is. So we'll go from there. But the Pro Bowl, we wanted to get to that, but I wanted to make sure we touched on that a little bit before. So Todd Hem on Facebook. Let me make sure I can read. Am I getting old? I have to make the text on this bigger so I can read. Isn't that insane? Nope, that's not helping. There we go. Todd Hem is a Rams fan, it looks like, and he says Rams have nothing to worry about. Y'all better worry about Aaron Donald. So we got a Rams fan coming in on the mix. Todd Hem says Bengals fans are so funny. They haven't been even in a playoff game in 1 in 31 years, and now they're just like mad maniacs, like they're going to win the Super Bowl. It is what it is. Ann Anderson says if you're making a phone call to a talk show host, at least be respectful. Yeah. Yeah. Ann goes, he does not have to answer your call. Yeah, that's right. Ann also says, hang in there, Justin. I miss you guys when you're not on, and you are entitled to root for whoever you want. I grew up a Browns fan, moved to Denver, became a Broncos fan, still am, but I am firmly behind the Bengals. Yeah, until that last part, Ann. Oh, my goodness. Anthony Bauer says that was hilarious, talking about that caller. Brian McCoy says, you guys know each other from anger management class. Yes. Clearly, I'm a lot further advanced in that class than he is at this point. So Theo says, hang up on this guy. Ran Go Blue on YouTube says, calls like this is why I love listening to this show. Well, thank you. Theo also said this was hilarious. Got to go get him, Kinner. Thank you. You guys are you guys really, what's that called? You're an enabler?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, guys like Michael need to be upset with like Ran Go Blue on YouTube and Theo and some of these other guys and gals like Ann who are they instigate. They add, fuel to the fire.
Throwing gas on the fire.
Oh, yeah.
Gassing you up.
I guess. 518-1410, hour 2 coming up next. I'm excited. We're going to be joined by Reggie Williams, former Cincinnati Bengal. He's played in a few Super Bowls. He knows what this week is like. He knows what the build up to this Super Bowl is like, and we're going to talk about that with Reggie on the other side. Again, if you want to call into the show, 518-1410, 518-1410. Reggie Williams joins us at 4:30, but I want to talk about that I said Rose Bowl earlier. Someone called me out. I probably did say Rose Bowl. I meant Pro Bowl. 2 games that mean nothing, though. I'll be back. I'm sorry. I'll be back. Maybe Michael has a point.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy all types of real estate completely as is. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
If you're on the job day in and day out, you know living with pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulders is miserable. The good news, QC Kinetics gets it. They understand guys like you.
They don't have the luxury of taking time off. They want to keep working. We are built for those guys that want to keep working and want to stay active. So the vast majority of who we see are the blue-collar guys like me and you.
QC Kinetics uses biologic therapies, just like pro athletes have used for years, to get you lasting pain relief with no surgery.
I want you to continue working. I want you to continue exercising. The joints are made to be moved.
The treatments at QC Kinetics are fast and non-invasive.
It's not a lot of time commitment on your part. There is no downtime or recovery time. You don't need short-term disability with what we do. We want to keep you active.
Call QC Kinetics now to set up your free, no-obligation consultation. Learn how you can get real pain relief.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325.
OHMB 803342 and MLS 304138. Do you need help with a loan to purchase or refinance your home? Have you applied for a home loan and been told you do not qualify for a loan? Are you a first-time buyer and have questions regarding the home buying process? Are you considering refinancing your existing home? Do you live in Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Florida, or South Carolina? If you answered yes to any of the above questions, you need to call Forrest Ferris at 3rd Street Financial Home Loans at 513-320-5911, who is available 7 days a week to help you. We're 3rd Street Financial Home Loans, and Forrest Ferris specializes in approving home loans banks and other lenders cannot or will not approve. Some of our clients might have low credit scores, been through a divorce, want to buy a home for sale by owner, are in a land contract, or dealing with probate or estate homes. Call Forrest now for a free estimate. 513-320-5911. That's 513-320-5911. Offer valid for purchase or refinancing of homes located in Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Florida, and South Carolina only. Minimum loan amount $60,000. Limitations and restrictions apply.
Want the same internet but more privacy? DuckDuckGo's got you covered. They help millions of people like you get privacy.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle. The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
And into the end zone goes Chris Olave. KJ Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We're live on Facebook. Head to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show. If you think that calling in to tell me I suck is your only option, no, you have many other different options, Kev. You can go to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show, and you can tell me how horrible I am there. Maybe you can give me a nice friendly or not so friendly tweet at 1410 Kinner. All the friendly tweets and posts can, of course, go to Kev on at @1Kev Nash on Twitter and Instagram, of course. Instagram, I don't really use Instagram that much. I know people are pissed. Just one more platform for people not to care where I'm at.
Oh, I'm sure some people care on the lines.
Yes, whenever it comes to telling me how horrible. And like I said, I'm an acquired taste. Sometimes not even that. That's okay. The Pro Bowl was just horrible yesterday. It was fun reading some of the former players like Deion Sanders, Keith Byers. I mean, just going at the Pro Bowl. Like, when did this become a game that people stopped playing in, like playing? Like, I know people out there think, well, it's a meaningless exhibition game. And I agree with that. I believe it is, but it has always been that. But at some point, players have transitioned mindset wise towards, I'm not going to give it my all in this game. I'm not going to get hurt in this game. But Deion and those guys, they went, I mean, if you watched, I went back and pulled up some old Pro Bowl games because I'm a loser, I guess. And like some 90s ones, like you wouldn't be able to tell that there was nothing on the line in those games. Like they went at one another. I mean, Byers was telling me that there were some players that didn't even get in and that players were pissed when they didn't get in the Pro Bowl back when he played. Now, everyone, you get in, you don't get in. It's just a social kind of gathering. Yeah. And you know what? More power to you. I think that I don't think either side's wrong. I think it only appears to be wrong because you're comparing it to back when players did play hard. But are players less competitive today? I don't know. What is it about the Pro Bowl today that has kept, or what is it about today's style of football that these guys just don't want to play hard in it? I don't blame them. Again, I agree. It's a meaningless, pointless game. But it always has been that, and athletes used to play hard in it. So at some point, when did athletes just decide, well, I'm super competitive, but not competitive enough to want to compete in this fill in the blank? So I don't want to hear that it's a meaningless game because I know it is, but it's always been that. But players used to play hard. And the only thing I can come up with is that these players, they're not competitive anymore, that they don't care. One take I know we're going to hear, we'll chat with Keith Byers about around the corner is, oh, well, with all the money that's on the line today, you got to understand, there's a lot of money on the line today in the eyes of pro athletes based on where we're at. But you got to understand there's always been a lot of money on the line for the times that you're living and playing in. I pulled this up today. If you look at back in the 70s, the average NFL salary was $23,000, by the way. How about that? In the 80s, the average player salary was $78,000. In the 90s, it was $422,000, so getting close to that, $500,000 range. The average player, again, obviously everything is high for the better players, like always, but we're talking about the median average here for salaries. In 2000, the average player salary was $1 million, and then 2020, it's $2 million. But you got to understand that, yes, if I'm a player in the 90s saying, well, the average salary is $422,000, $500,000. And I'm looking ahead, and I know players in 2020 are going to be making $2 million a year on average. I'm not willing to play. You got to understand that in the 90s, $500,000, that's still a ton of money. Like, we got to stop acting like these players are playing for peanuts for decades and decades and decades, and that's why they played hard, because why not? And they weren't trying to say. Back then, That was ratio to the market. Like that, they were making the money that was still a lot of money back then.
Mm-hmm.
We think this is a lot of money, but it's no different than back when the 80s and 90s were going on. Those fans thought that was a lot of money too. Those athletes thought it was a lot of money. Keith Byers, I chatted with him earlier. I asked him about this, and he goes, at that time, we all thought we were making a crap ton of money. He goes, we made nothing compared to what they're making now, and these athletes are making nothing compared to what the median average salary will be in 10, 15, 20 years from now. So to say, money is why they're not playing hard, that's still just an excuse because we were making a ton of money back then and we still played hard. Deion Sanders, they had that Deion Sanders contract or whatever. It was like one of the highest paid salaries ever. How now when you hear a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes got that mega $500 million deal, like everyone lost their mind. Deion got that in the mid-90s. And it was the first time that a contract had been backloaded where you weren't going to make a lot up front, but you're going to get it all on the back end. And that's how a lot of contracts are manipulated right now. In fact, that's how Patrick Mahomes was. But like he even said, he goes, I always knew I had a chance to make a ton of money. Dion, the interview I saw, Shannon Sharp was the other one that was complaining about it. And that was just in the early 2000s when he played hard. I don't get it. Why do you think these players just don't want to play hard in this anymore?
Nobody cares about it. They just don't care about it. And people don't watch it like that. I remember as a kid, like this was like the thing to watch. Like, oh man, we're going to watch the Pro Bowl. We're going to watch the best of the best. It's just not that anymore. You have so many players that end up opting out of the game. You now have the Pro Bowl that is a week before the Super Bowl. I remember it used to be the Sunday after the Super Bowl. So like the guys that played and won the Super Bowl would kind of like get all the type of love and everything like that because they're the champs. They're coming in later than everybody else and everything like that. It was an event. And now it's just not. And I can't tell you the last time I can't tell you the last time I actually caught some of the Pro Bowl. It was Sean Taylor when he almost killed that punter. Like it was like I saw that and I was like, dang, this is the Pro Bowl. They hitting like that in the Pro Bowl. This is like an exhibition. But the thing about it is, and even back in, KB's day and in Deion Sanders' day, maybe they shouldn't have been playing like that because it is an exhibition. Because if you get hurt in the exhibition, just like we think about like when dudes get hurt in the preseason, it's a bummer. But if you get hurt during the regular season, people like, oh man, dang, that sucks, man. But, at least it was for the regular season. At least it was for the goal of trying to win a championship. I don't think they should be playing preseason games. I think those are stupid. I think the Pro Bowl is stupid. Like the only games that matter are the regular season, playoffs, and the Super Bowl. Like these games just don't mean anything. They didn't mean anything then. They mean even less now. And for the common fan, are we watching this? I don't know. I would have to see the numbers. I'm sure there's people out there that are watching it. But if I'm not watching real football, I'm not watching. You know how I am, man. I'm in it to be entertained. I don't watch Ohio State when they're up 50-3. I just don't. Like, what's the point? Like, I'm here to be entertained. There's a lot of different options on. You know what I was doing when the Pro Bowl was on? I was watching my new favorite game show, America Says. That's what I was doing when the Pro Bowl was on. I am not watching that garbage. Well, and then people that complain about it, turn it off. Tons of options out here. We got Netflix, you got Hulu, you got 1,000,001 other things you could be doing instead of watching that. And I know, some of the former players, like this is their job to commentate on it. Keep it real. Tell them that you turned it off because it's terrible and it's not enjoyable to watch. It is what it is.
Well, to say that, again, I think that the games themselves mean nothing, but really we could say as fans, we think it means nothing. But to the athletes, that's something that they take pride in. Like, I just thought it's disrespectful to the game the way that they treated that yesterday, and really that they've treated it in recent history. But at some point, these athletes are wired different. They care more about being buddy and best friends, and they've lost a competitive drive about all of them. Like, every single athlete today is less competitive, in my opinion, than decades before. Does that make them less talented? Absolutely not. Does that change who they are as people? Absolutely not. I don't think. It sounds like I'm saying it with a negative connotation that they're less athletes today are less competitive than decades ago, but I truly believe that. And I think you're seeing it in things like this, like opting out of bowl games. You're less competitive than the decades past. That's not a knock at you. That's just you in your head, that's normal in these times we live in, and that's okay because you're living in these times. You weren't living in those times. There's a lot of things that we do differently or better today than in decades past. More power to you. But I definitely do not believe that athletes are as competitive today as they used to. I mean, competitive drives used to keep friendships. I mean, used to, gap friendships in the NBA, especially. That's why people used to love basketball in the 80s and 90s, is because there was no friendship back then. I mean, there was, but they're not to the levels that we see today. Social media is more responsible for that. I think if social media is around in the 90s, maybe we do see MJ and Magic and those guys maybe be a little bit more friendly off the floor.
Yeah, we don't see what they were doing, playing golf in the off season, everything like that.
But you see it on the floor. They hate one another on the floor. No one hates each other on the floor nowadays. In fact, I see more bickering.
Can you hate somebody on the floor now? Because if you look at somebody the wrong way, you get a technical nowadays. Like, I don't think that they're less competitive. I just think they're more business savvy. I think they understand that their body is their business. Their body
and they're
is
less competitive because they're business savvy.
Give
me a Michael. Give me a Michael. Come on.
I just think that, hey, man, they know without their body, they can't make money. They can't win championships. They're not going to put themselves in a position to damage their moneymaker, which is their arm, their legs, their whatever is their main source of income. So, like, I don't really knock them for it, because main reason I don't knock them for it is because I don't watch. Now, if I was like a football junkie or a gambling person or anything like that, where I'm gambling on every single game, I probably would feel different. But since I take it for what it is, like, it's a Pro Bowl. Like, I don't watch the MLB All-Star game. I don't watch that. Holla at me when my team is on. Holla at me when the Guardians are on. Holla at me when it's the playoffs. Holla at me during a regular season game. I have none. And I know a lot of my friends out here, they love watching preseason games because they're huge college football fans. Well, I want to see how XYZ is playing. I want to see how a former Ohio State player is playing. Let me know if you get into a real game. That's just where I'm at with it.
518-1410, 518-1410. For Bengals fans out there, keep in mind we do have Reggie Williams, former Bengal, coming up with us here about 12 minutes from now. But yeah, like I just thought that was I think they need to get rid of the actual game itself. I think that being named a Pro Bowler should just be a season accomplishment that you could look back and say, oh yeah, he was named a Pro Bowler. It's kind of very similar to first team, second team, third team. But honestly, athletes, whether we think it's a competitive drive thing or not, it's not going to change. In fact, if anything, it's going to become even like, I think now they don't even try when they're on the field, but I think the next wave is going to be like Aaron Rodgers, where you just say, I'm good. I don't even want to go. And they'll get ripped for that. And it's pointless. I'm a hypocrite if I say, yeah, it's a pointless exhibition game and they get pissed because they don't try hard. My reference was back to, well, it's always been pointless, but why did they used to try hard and now they don't?
Yeah.
So, but it's not going to change. It's only
just the way people are
get worse. I guess not worse, but in the eyes of those who complain about it now, it's only going to get worse. I think you should get rid of the competitive game. Not competitive. I think you get rid of the on-field game itself. Maybe replace it with some fun skills challenges.
They tried that. I saw that. I saw it was on my ESPN ticker that says, what's our linebacker from the Cowboys? Penn State. Parsons. He won the 40-yard dash versus Tariq Hill and everything like that. I saw that
that's
on
where
the
you get
ticker
your
and
Chad
everything
Johnson
like that.
coming back to race. Maybe you get your Usain Bolt against Tyreek Hill. That's where you try to get some celebrities involved and have some fun. Maybe you get, I don't know, but just mix it up, make it an entertainment thing. The NBA is a little different.
Yeah, like you in football, if you don't play hard in real football, you end up getting hurt. It's not basketball. Basketball, you can lollygag
too, though. Sometimes,
but you can lollygag in basketball, and there's something to it exciting to see when somebody gets a fast break windmill dunk. You're watching the windmill dunk, and you're watching dudes shoot half court shots and everything like that. But like what I saw on ESPN during the quote unquote highlights, like they were thudding. It wasn't even thud like a practice thud. It was like touch football. It wasn't even touch football. Like, I don't know how you played touch football growing up, but we played tag below the waist. But they just bumped into a guy, tweet, you're down. Like, I don't even know who out there watched that from kickoff to end, unless you had money on the game.
Capital punishment. That's what happened. Guys on death row, they said, I'm making death row jokes now. I got to stop. What the hell's wrong with me? But seriously, that bad? I mean, my goodness. But
how much did you watch?
Oh, none of it. I told you I watched all 4 movies of Scream yesterday. Didn't plan it. Just happened to accidentally come across it on YouTube TV, and then it naturally went into the next one and the next one. I'm like, holy crap, Nora, we just watched all 4 movies of Scream today. We didn't have the Sunday morning show yesterday because of the Buckeye game. So it was just a relaxing day. I shoveled the snow, by the way, and I'm still sore. I'm 30, and I feel like I'm 80 because of that. So
shoveled the ice.
Yep, I told you. I'm out there with my $10 Dollar General snow shovel while all my rich neighbors sit out there with their snow blowers. One got my neighbor, by the way, I really appreciate it, but they came over, they did like one strip down one sidewalk and left the other sidewalk. I'm like, I'm not being that guy, but I'm like, I mean, it was like one of those where I feel bad for you. I'm going to go ahead and just give you one little line across your sidewalk. And then the stupid kids walking home from school today, Nora sends me a text on our little security camera thing saying, look at these little blah, blah, blah. She goes, all that work I did shoveling the sidewalk yesterday, they're all kicking snow. The whole thing's covered again. I hate kids. Gosh.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Yeah. But 518-1410. But the other thing, Keith Byers today said the issue is with the Pro Bowl, like the fact that Joe Burrow wasn't named a Pro Bowler technically this year, should have been, but that's besides the point. The point is that you have I think 3 on the Bengals and a few on the Rams not participating in the game. I know that may not be that big of a deal, but it is, because if that game is supposed to display the best players in the game, you don't not display the best players in the game who are playing in the biggest game of the year just because you want to try to fit some money-making thing in the middle of the AFC NFC game in the Super Bowl. So he had a problem with that. And I agree with him on that too. It's like, oh, I don't really care. I'd rather them be the Super Bowl than the Pro Bowl. That's a given. But I get that as well. But 518-1410, thoughts on any of our Bengals conversation, the Pro Bowl. Let's go to Dustin. Dustin, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing good, guys. You were talking earlier before you took a couple calls about I agree with you on the path for each team in the Super Bowl. The Bengals and the Rams. Yeah, I would agree that the Rams probably have the easier path back to the Super Bowl.
Oh, yes. Okay. Sorry, I was confused on what you were referencing. My bad.
No, that's fine. Yeah, the AFC definitely seems like a tougher conference at the moment. Then your other topic you were talking about was the pressure. Who feels more pressure? You said you believe that the Bengals may feel more pressure. I kind of think it may be the Rams feeling a little more pressure because they've kind of bought this team to a point. They unloaded a bunch of first-round draft picks for Stafford. McVay's been there before and lost. So, and I don't know if this is going to affect the outcome of the game in either coach's mind or whatever, but it kind of seems to me from my view looking in that the Bengals are playing with house money. They weren't supposed to win a playoff. Well, they were barely favored in the first one. And then the next two, everybody was like, well, that's cool. They got that out of the way. Now they're done. And here they are. They feel like they're just rolling on house money. Whereas in my opinion, it seems like the Rams kind of, from the preseason when they spent all that money and brought in all these people and added through the season, seems like they might be feeling a little bit more pressure. Just my opinion.
No, and Dustin, you want to know what's interesting about this, like the perception of this matchup that I find fascinating. And I did a TV interview earlier today and I used this line and then I ended up finding some information later that I was dead wrong on, that there's 2 different types of teams, the Rams, who I felt like bought this Super Bowl roster, and the Bengals, who built it through the draft. What's really interesting is that the Bengals have spent more on this roster than the Rams have on theirs. Isn't that crazy? Like when I went
that is interesting.
So when I went and compared the payrolls, the Bengals have spent $154 million on the team for 2021. The Rams 121.
Right.
Isn't that crazy though? I'm with you. I thought the same thing, and then the numbers aren't, meaning that. Like it's weird.
well, and I think it's really just names. Like, I did not know that honestly, but when you hear names like Von Miller, Beckham, and Stafford, which they did unload a lot of draft stock for him, I guess that's more where I was coming from. Where maybe on paper they didn't spend quite as much, quote, dollars, unquote. But it just kind of feels like, they did try to buy this in a way. Not that they could buy it, but you know what I'm saying? Like they may have a little more invested, feels like, in getting to this point. And while I'm still on this, before I forget, this is something, what the Rams have done, and I'm a Bengals fan, mind you, but what the Rams have done, it's what the Cowboys have been trying to do for years. And they just can't wrap their head around it. And in my opinion, it's because Jerry Jones still meddles too much. He is one of the most, if not, well, he's got to be the most meddling owner in the NFL, if not pro sports. And the Rams have done it. They've spent the money. They've brought in the big names. And I don't know if their owner, I think he keeps himself out of the actual on-field operations, whereas we all know Jerry Jones, he's out there in press conferences trying to tell people how the play should have been called. He meddles.
I agree.
In my opinion.
No, you're right.
So that's just my opinion, guys.
Hey, Dustin, thanks so much for waiting. I appreciate you. Take care.
All right, who day?
But isn't that crazy, Kev? The Bengals are being viewed as this team that built it naturally and organically through the draft, and the Rams are looking like this. Like the perception is that the Rams like the Yankees. You know what I mean? Like they're the evil empire that just they outspent everyone else. And I was like, what's funny? I talk so much about the Bengals spending $250 million on that defense over the last 2 years. The Bengals have actually, from a financial standpoint, they've invested more in this team from a financial standpoint than the Rams have. That's what's crazy about the perception of this. But I think it's because when you look at the Bengals, the success, although the Rams, with the money they spent is well spent because they're here because of every dollar they spent.
Right.
They're also here because they nailed it in the draft.
Yep.
Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Evan McPherson. I mean, they proved me wrong. I was just dead wrong. They did this. I love what the Bengals did. They did it perfectly. It was a perfect blend of hitting on every major position player that you can get your hands on and then complementing it with a lot of money spent on the defense. I didn't like the picks, or I didn't like the money, the guys that they got for the money at the time. Hendrickson had one dominant season that you were investing a lot of money into, hoping that he would give you that same result back. Hilton was a good pickup, but Awuzie, not a fan of. The fact you went, so I like the additions they made. None of them made me feel all warm and fuzzy inside, I guess. But you know what? It's not about what makes me warm and fuzzy inside. Bengals fans feel warm and fuzzy inside because their team's in the damn Super Bowl, and my team is at home with Baker Mayfield. So there you
watching go. Like me and you.
I'm sorry.
No, the thing about the Cincinnati Bengals and the money that they spent on free agency and everything like that is because the Rams, their free agents, and the players that they have acquired are huge names. They're huge stars in this league. Like Jalen Ramsey, a top 5 pick, and you gave up assets to get him. And then you signed it to a big contract. The big contract that Cooper Kupp got, he was drafted by the Rams, but in order for them to keep him, they had to pay him big bucks. OBJ, he's a big star in the NFL. Von Miller, former Super Bowl MVP, he's a big star name in the NFL. Aaron Donald, he got drafted by the Rams, but they had to pay him big bucks to stay. So I think it's the simple fact, the things that they had to give up, the draft picks, and the names attached to those players.
They're LA.
Yeah.
If they're in St. Louis still, do we still view them that way? I don't think we do.
I'm not sure some of those players would be on the team if they were still in St. Louis.
Like Patrick Ramsey, well, they were traded there technically, but, who knows? 518-1410, Reggie Williams. We'll get to him at 440. We'll push him back just a tad. Let's go to Mark. Mark, thanks for holding, sir. How are you? Did we lose Mark? All right, let's go to Nick. Nick, how are you, sir?
This is Nick.
Nick, you're on live, man. You're on with Kenner and Kev. What's up?
Hey, what's going on? I just had a quick question. We were talking about it at work with Uzomah potentially coming back for the Super Bowl. He's one of the longest tenured people on our roster. So I brought up the question, would you risk your career for a Super Bowl win?
Yes.
Yes, no doubt. I mean, look how long. I don't think Uzomah ever thought that he would play in a Super Bowl with the Bengals, at least. And
even with this roster being as young as they are, potential for the next 3 years maybe to return.
Yeah, I mean, because like I said earlier, I think that although the future is super bright for the Bengals, I think they have more AFC North title wins in them, more AFC division title appearances. I think it's going to be very tough to get back to a Super Bowl in the AFC with all that quarterback talent over there. That's not a shot at the Bengals. I just think the path to get there is so hard that nothing's guaranteed. So I think that, yes, I think he should risk it. And, I don't know how I feel about Uzomah as a long-term answer there. How do you feel about that?
The long-term answer as a tight end?
Yeah.
I think he's absolutely critical. I mean, right now, without him, Drew Sample, I don't think we have anybody.
But with you have a lot of payroll remaining. You have a lot of money left to spend. I mean, is that a position that you look to upgrade in the offseason? Or are you really happy with
offensive line? I want to upgrade the offensive line. I mean, to me, it's that or bust right now. If we can get Burrow time, I think the rest of the league is in trouble. To me, that should be our number one thing. If we can keep Uzomah healthy, he's a lock. I mean, he's solid. He's not Gronk, but I mean, he's solid. And I wouldn't rock the boat, man, honestly. But it is what it is. I mean, right now we're tit for tat with the Rams because their tight ends in the exact same situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of feel like it'd be a wash if you set the game out, but at the same time, we're probably going to beat them.
Well, and that's
Especially
the thing,
with
too.
Ramsey.
With the way the Bengals defend against tight ends, it's a bigger deal that the Rams are struggling with theirs versus the Titans instead of the Bengals not having theirs, possibly not having theirs. These teams are built with their number one wide receivers, Jamar Chase and Kupp. That's really what it comes down to more than anything. And I think that, but yes, if having a tight end, if he risks the rest of his career to win this Super Bowl, I think you definitely do it. I don't even think you question it, you know?
Without a doubt. I mean, I remember when Rod Woodson, he tore his ACL earlier in the season and the Steelers end up making the Super Bowl and he played in the Super Bowl. I mean, we just talked about how Cam Akers is playing in the playoffs. He's playing in the playoffs because they got a chance to win it all. Like, absolutely. Now, if dudes start, quote unquote, opting out of the Super Bowl, then all that stuff that people talk about where guys not as competitive as they once were, you'll have me then. I'll have no ammunition in, but absolutely, you play in this game. If you can walk and the doctors clear you, you in this Super Bowl, dog. You play in this game.
Unless you play like Baker Mayfield does injured, and then you sit your ass down and you get that surgery a lot sooner. Damn. So Mike Haywood, by the way, shout out to Mike Haywood. I got this. He goes, I'm going to need Kinner to stop calling Jalen Ramsey Patrick Ramsey, who was a terrible quarterback. Yes, my bad. I think I've dropped that like multiple times today, and now I'm like kicking myself. But thank you for calling me out on that. Yeah, I didn't realize I was saying that at first. It's kind of like when people say Joe Burrows, you know, when they add the S to the end. What is some other one? I get
my mom does that with Target.
Oh, the Target. Oh,
Yeah,
she says Targets.
Target. I'm going to Targets.
I hear a lot of people say Kroger's. I'm going to go to Kroger's to buy that Joe Burrows jerseys. Lots of plurals.
Like, Ma, you going to multiple Targets? They don't have everything you need at one. You know what I meant.
518-1410. We only have about 2 minutes left, and we got to get going before we get to, of course, Reggie Williams, former Bengal, coming up here in about 7 minutes. Kev, who we have up next?
Rams fan Todd on line 3.
All right, Rams fan Todd, how are you? I bet you're picking the Bengals, huh?
I'm good. Yeah, picking the Bengals. So it's good talking to you guys again. I'm going to start off just real. I know you're stressed for time, so I'll make it short.
Yeah.
Just wanted to tell you guys thanks again. I think you guys are awesome. That caller that was giving you a little grief a little earlier, I got his off his rocker today, and he needs to go take a couple Valium and just chill out.
He needs the pills.
But Todd, you only say that because we are saying nice things about your team.
No.
If I said mean things about your team, would you think that?
Then.
Okay.
No, I would not, because my goodness, I mean, listen, that guy, you are renting space in that guy's head, and he's letting you do that, and no one's going to do that to me. So that's not me.
Challenge accepted.
Congratulations to you, man. I take it as a compliment. But anyway, so what I wanted to get at real quick is everyone's talking, Joe Burrow versus Matt Stafford, Jamar Chase versus Cooper Kupp, blah, 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 blah. Here's what's going to be the key to the game. And I know people have touched on it and they've talked about it, but listen, the Bengals offensive line against the Rams front seven, it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be a disaster unless, and here's the thing is, you got to remember too that the coach for the Bengals is a prodigy of Sean McVay.
Mm-hmm.
So he learned everything. So that's actually a good thing in this situation. He was he was the coordinator for the Rams when they was in their last Super Bowl. He knows now kind of what they did wrong in preparing.
Yeah, they had Jared Goff.
I think they really overprepared. yeah, Jared Goff. Right. So what I believe is the game is, and people say this, and it sounds kind of cliche, but the game is going to be won in the trenches. Who's going to win that battle on the offensive and defensive line? And that's all I got, fellas. I'll let you guys discuss that and see what you think. But
all right, Todd, thank you.
That's my opinion. You got it.
I appreciate it. Thank you for saying something nice about me. My self-esteem needs it. It's been taking a beating lately. And by lately, I mean, how long have I done this show? All right. 518-1410. That's the number. Let's squeeze in one more, Kev. Who we got?
We got Adam, line 4.
Adam, I hate that you waited so long and I have to rush you, but I wanted to make sure we at least got to your take before we got to Reggie Williams, man. What you got for us today?
Hey guys, how's it going? Just real quick, Justin, way to be the bigger man. I'm a Browns fan too, which you're picking the Bengals. Way to have all your Cincinnati listeners not on your bad side today. But I needed some prop bet help. Heads or tails, color Gatorade, and over under 2 minutes for the national anthem. What do you guys think? Thanks.
All right, thank you. So he said heads, tails. I'm going to go heads.
Wait. If we give you this advice, do we get a cut?
Hey, he said something nice about me. I'm going to give free advice. Free advice. But I don't think we're going to get a cut. I should have asked him how much money he was going to spend on this. So, by the way, always go heads.
Oh,
always go heads.
Tails never fails.
What'd the Bills pick, by the way?
Oh, that's a good question.
I just said, All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Former Cincinnati Bengal, played in 2 Super Bowls. Reggie Williams, former linebacker, good enough to hop on with us coming up here in 5 minutes. We'll get to him on the other side, but always go heads. I'm going to go with orange Gatorade this year. And what was the other one? The length of the national anthem?
Length of the national anthem.
I'm going to say over 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, always go over with the national
Over, heads, orange Gatorade. What about you, Kev?
Definitely go over on the national anthem. Always go over with that. I'm going to go with red Gatorade because that's the one I like. And I'm going to go with tails never fails.
That's never mind. All right. Reggie Williams, former Bengal, joins us next.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy, a high near 35. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy and cold, a low near 8. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy, a high near 38. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Want the same internet but more privacy? DuckDuckGo's got you covered. They help millions of people like you get privacy online without any trade-offs. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com today. That's BABBEL.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Have you ever noticed that when the afternoon light hits your floors, you can see everything, including dust?
So much dust.
And that floor dust gets kicked up into the air, compromising the quality of air you and your family breathe. Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper is the fast and easy way to clean your floors with ultra-thick pads that trap and lock dust before it gets in the air. Just a couple minutes a day.
And dust is gone.
Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper. Proud partner of the American Lung Association.
Hey, Ray Magliozzi here. I don't know about you, but my car could use a few upgrades. I mean, the 8-inch tier in the driver's seat does have sentimental value since my butt has molded to fit it, but I'm ready to move on. My solution? eBay Motors. They've got all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them, from seat covers to whole new seats. When I get that new seat, I think I'll put the old one in the living room, right next to the minivan seats, or as we call it, the sectional. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Exergen would like you to know about an important new study by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has always known. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate, and they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in labeling. With new strains of COVID on the rise, we can't afford to tolerate rampant false temperature readings from non-contact thermometers. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. You need Exergen thermometers because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Hey guys, if you love football, Sunday, February 13th is a big day. And if you'd like to score points of your own, Monday, February 14th is even bigger. Order our Midnight Romance Special and have it delivered on Thursday or Friday of that week. It includes roses, Esther Price candy, and a bottle of wine. Order at firsttheflorist.com. That's FURST, theflorist.com. First Florist and Greenhouses, Dayton's largest family-owned florist and greenhouses at 1306 Troy Street since 1905. Order our Midnight Romance Special now.
Hi, I'm Sales Manager Jason High at Germain Honda Beaver Creek, proud recipient of the prestigious President's Award. We are your local Honda dealer, and we invite you to see our newly renovated state-of-the-art facility. You'll be amazed at our selection, and remember, all new Hondas come with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit us at Route 35, just east of 675, conveniently located near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way. I'll see you soon.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on The Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken.
Hear that Bengal growling, mean and angry. Here he comes a prowling.
All right, welcome back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash is presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. And, of course, Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. The Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl. We were coming into this year just saying, hey, you know what? Maybe if they win about 7-8 games, they won 6 total games the 2 years previous combined, win 7 games, feel like you're trending in the right direction. But no, they had to just, they're a bunch of overachievers is what they are. And to talk about that, maybe once thought to be overachieving, but just straight out just a really good football team. Now the Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl. We got former Bengals linebacker Reggie Williams. Reggie, welcome in, sir. How are you? You're pretty experienced in prepping for these type of games, aren't you?
Well, I had 2 opportunities to prep for the Super Bowl, and each one are unique, and each one were dramatically different. The first game, Super Bowl 16, was in Pontiac, Michigan. It was cold, as everyone can remember. We had to win the coldest game in NFL history, the AFC Championship against the San Diego Chargers, where it was minus 59 degrees below zero. When we went up to Detroit, it was so cold that, the George Bush's motorcade, prevented both team buses from getting to the stadium in time. And then in Super Bowl 23, they had the riots in Overtown during Super Bowl week. Mm-hmm. So both unique, crazy circumstances, but hopefully nothing like that happens this weekend in LA. But then again, in Super Bowl 27, after I retired, I had the position of director of community relations for Super Bowl 27. That was the Super Bowl that Michael Jackson did the halftime show. But the reason they hired me was to provide a response to the Rodney King riot. And that's where I built NFL Youth Education Town. But certainly every Super Bowl, you need to tune out the distractions. And I'm sure the Cincinnati Bengals are tuning out whatever distractions come their way when they travel out to L.A. tomorrow.
And let me just rewind. The last time we had you on, you and I would discuss the expectations for this team coming into the season. And I always said, I've had to eat a lot of crow. I did not think this team would be that good this year. To be fair, I think the biggest Bengals homers out there didn't expect them to be even this good. But where are you at as far as where your expectations for this team coming into the season versus where they are at right now? Did you ever at all think that this team was capable of doing what they are doing right now?
No, the Cincinnati Bengals invited all of the Ring of honor nominees to the first Thursday night football game against Jacksonville. I had a chance to speak in front of our season ticket holders, and I told them that this could be the year that Cincinnati finds themselves in the Super Bowl if you only believe. And that was our same situation. Both Super Bowls that we went to, we were coming off of losing season. We went from 4-12 and 6-10 until Super Bowl 16. We went from 4-12, 4-12, and 4-11 was the season before we went to Super Bowl 23. So you've got to believe yourself. You just can't believe what your outcome has been in the past. You've got to be focused in on the here and now and the future. I think one of the best things to happen to the Cincinnati Bengals this year was the incredible rehab of Joe Burrow. And for him to come off of that severe injury and to come back the next year and play even better than his rookie year, that's inspiring for the whole team and gives them a certain amount of grit and toughness. That's the only way that you can, support their offensive line, given the fact that, they gave up 9 sacks in a game, and yet they still won.
You talk about this opportunity that you had to play in 2 Super Bowls. What would you tell the guys about this opportunity that they have? Everybody talks about how young the team is, and they are, especially on offense with Joe Burrow and Chase and T. Higgins and things of that nature. What would you tell them about seizing this opportunity?
This is a seize the opportunity, and that means you have to be disciplined and not make any last-minute mistakes. LA has a lot of different temptations, and we're still in a pandemic. And the worst thing that could happen is if we lose a player to a COVID test or to doing something like Stanley Wilson did the night before we played in Super Bowl 23, and that's when he relapsed and started doing drugs. Sam Weiss found him in his room in the bathtub, and he came to our last team meeting the night before the game in tears to tell us that we were not going to have Stanley in that last game. So every single player. Now, Stanley was a backup, but he still was a great contributor to our team. He was our best blocking back for Boomer, and he was the best blocking back for James Brooks. So every single player, every single backup, everyone that has a uniform, every coach, everyone is important this weekend, and they've got to be a team like they've never been a team before.
I want to talk about some of the guys that play your position, Logan Wilson and Jeremy Pratt. Like, those guys are making you proud playing that linebacker position, right?
You're absolutely right. Jermaine Pratt is making me very proud when he got that interception at the end of the game to seal the victory at the goal line. I was so excited about a number 57 flying in, and making the big play. And Logan Wilson has been tough all year against the run, and he's gotten more interceptions almost than any other linebacker in Bengals history. I think I had the most at 4.
Coming for your spot.
Yeah, he came for it and got it. Now, neither one of them are touching my sacks yet. So, but we do have some great defensive ends that are definitely putting pressure on quarterbacks. They're going to have to do that this weekend against Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford has so many Detroit Lion fans and Georgia fans rooting for him. My only allegiance is to the Cincinnati Bengals. Who dey?
Reggie, quick question. Earlier we opened up the show with just a couple key questions heading into the Super Bowl this weekend, and we were discussing which team is most dependent on their quarterback to have a big game this weekend to win the Super Bowl. Now, we were kind of split. Kev, had talked about, wait, Kev, who did you say, by the way?
I think the Bengals need Joe Burrow to have a great game.
Yeah, Kev said Joe Burrow, and I said I felt like the Rams are more dependent on their quarterback than the Bengals, just because I look at the Bengals as a team that's been able to weather the storm on a couple of different games throughout the playoffs, where when you have a quarterback in today's day and age that doesn't throw a touchdown for 7 straight quarters, Reggie, and the team is still in the playoffs and now in the Super Bowl, that says that, they're winning with everything. They're winning with defense. They're winning with special teams in the leg of Evan McPherson. Joe Burrow still playing very well, even though touchdowns weren't being thrown for. It didn't matter. They were still there. Which team do you think is more dependent on the quarterback having a big game to win this weekend?
Well, I just look at history, the Cincinnati Bengals history. Both years we had the NFL most valuable player at quarterback, Ken Anderson in Super Bowl 16 and Boomer Esiason in Super Bowl 23. Unfortunately, in both those occasions, the quarterback didn't play their best game of the season. And in both those circumstances, we lost. We need Joe Burrow to play the best game of his career this weekend. And if that's pressure on him, that's what he wants. He's that kind of player that wants to know that it's all on his shoulders, and he's ready to spread the love around.
All right, Reggie. You look at this matchup. I mean, with what the Rams bring to the table. I mean, look, Joe Burrow's been lights out. This offense has been lights out. I mean, you have close to 3 receivers with 1,000 yards. You have a top 5 running back in Joe Mixon. You have a future MVP quarterback in Joe Burrow. Obviously, the sky's the limit. But this team right now, they're here. Despite the narrative is you don't have a good offensive line. You're not getting to the playoffs, you're not winning in the playoffs, and you sure as hell aren't getting to no damn Super Bowl. But yet here they are. They are finding ways to win despite their major deficiency at O-line. How amazing has that been for you to sit back and watch that, knowing how you being a defender, how to feast on teams with the bad offensive line, the job that Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow have done as far as calling and executing an offense to overcome that deficiency. How are you viewing that when you sit back and watch them play? What are some things that they're doing that you see that they're trying to overcome some of those deficiencies with that offensive line?
Well, they seem to be getting bullied a little bit, and they're unfortunately going to be facing the toughest tandem of pass rushers, with Von Bell this weekend that they've ever faced. And so I'm always looking for Joe to find windows of opportunities, and when he's not running. And so hopefully film study will, improve. I tell you, they dramatically improved last week in their protection of Joe Burrow versus the game against the Titans. So, this is just going to be a good week for them to get into L.A. tomorrow, hopefully get acclimated to the time zone difference. And get ready to, play a game, against a team in their home stadium with, most of their home crowd is going to be there. It's an outrageous ticket market right now because it is in L.A. So it's going to be something that every day, the lifestyle and Hollywood-esque temptations of California will be in their face every single day. They've got to ignore all of those distractions.
All right, Reggie Williams, former Bengals linebacker, played in 2 Super Bowls, hanging out with us here today. The Bengals back in the Super Bowl for the first time since Reggie Williams was last playing on the Bengals in the Super Bowl, which is really cool. Not many people expected the Bengals to be where they are at least this season. Sky's the limit for the future of this young core nucleus moving forward. Reggie, send us out with this, if you don't mind, sir. What is this week like? Let's go back to your first Super Bowl. This week, the build up to the Super Bowl. I know you kind of gave us some background happenings as far as what was going on, around the Super Bowls you played in, but just your mindset. What was it like waking up? How different is this week as far as mentally prepping for a game? I know you touched on this a little bit ago, but as far as how your feelings and emotions were that week in your first Super Bowl appearance, that Joe Burrow and Mixon, all these guys, they're experiencing it this week. What are they going through? Take us through what the emotions are and how to balance nerves versus preparation.
Well, I had a unique situation in Super Bowl 16, which was in Pontiac, Michigan. Number one, it was within 40 miles of my hometown of Flint, Michigan, where I grew up. And then, more uniquely, and the first time in NFL history that has ever happened before, and it hasn't happened since, the starting running back for the San Francisco 49ers, Ricky Patton, was my high school teammate at Flint Southwestern High School. So one of us was going to go home with a Super Bowl ring, and one person wasn't going to go home. That was a unique little personal battle, mano a mano, from Flintstone against a Flintstone. And so that put, a lot of pressure during the week because you had different family members and different high school teammates and influencers that really piled the pressure on. I remember one of my teammates Ron Simpkins, who was from Detroit, he had given all the players a tutorial on how to drive in the snow. And that week, he was the one that got into a car accident in the snow.
Oh, man.
And then, obviously, whenever you're playing a Super Bowl and there's a riot, that was important for us to really be focused. So that's, once again, that's been the theme of my talk with you here, is that the importance of focus and not being distracted in the biggest game of their life.
All right, former Bengals linebacker great Reggie Williams, good enough to hang out with us today on the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. The Bengals preparing to take on the Rams in Super Bowl 56 coming up this Sunday. Reggie, thanks so much. I'm sure this has been a blast watching this team fight through adversity and overcome all the odds, and they're back in the Super Bowl for the first time since your playing days. This has to be surreal for you, and I know it is for all Bengals fans. This is really neat for everybody involved. I'm pretty sure you're jacked for Sunday.
I am really jacked for Sunday. I called and talked to Mike Brown this morning, wished him good luck, congratulated the entire Brown family, Katie Blackburn, her daughter Elizabeth Blackburn. They've really done a great job of marketing this team, of coming up with the identity of ruling the jungle, and really have provided a lot of additional reasons for all Cincinnati Bengals to feel proud of saying, "Who they? Who they think gonna beat them Bengals? Where do we play? In the jungle. They're scared of nobody."
I love it. Reggie, thank you so much. I'll even give you a who day, and best of luck to your team this weekend. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you for having me. Thank you later.
All right, Reggie Williams, former Bengal linebacker, good enough to call in and hang out with us for a bit, Kev. Just the distraction, especially when you're playing in LA.
Absolutely. I didn't even think about it like that. The incident with Alvin Kamara yesterday after the Pro Bowl and everything like that in Vegas and everything like that. There's no doubt about it. When you're in these other cities like this, like a LA, like a Las Vegas, there are a lot of temptations. You as an individual, you need to make these right decisions because, when the Super Bowl is in Detroit or in Indianapolis or in Minneapolis in February, there's distractions, but it's cold outside. But in LA, the distractions, it's 70 outside. You're going to take that risk. Hopefully nobody, not including the Rams, because as a fan, you want all the best players to be out there. And you want to have a perspective of a good game and no excuses made. You want to have your Super Bowl party. You want to watch all these great athletes perform and may the best team win. I hate those Super Bowls when there's distractions. I can't remember the player's name, but the offensive lineman from the Raiders, he had an incident. The safety from the Atlanta Falcons got picked up for prostitution the night before the Super Bowl one year back in the day. So like those distractions right before the Super Bowl really put a damper on the game. And I can only imagine what it would do for the team that's dealing with the distraction.
First, of course, you talking last week about the Dolphins pay for play, the Browns potential pay for play. And then you bring up that memory of that guy getting in trouble for pay for play. Hour 3 next. Zip.
Mean and angry, here he comes a prowling, lean and hungry, an offensive brute, run pass or boot, and defensively he's rough, tough, Cincinnati Bengals.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
The Western Ohio Home Builders Association and 84 Lumber invite you to the Miami County Home and Garden Show, February 18th through the 20th at Hobart Arena in Troy. If this is your year to renovate your home, you do not want to miss this show. From roofing to flooring and everything in between, including upgrading your outdoor living space, you'll find what you're looking for at the best home and garden show in the northern Miami Valley. For more information, visit MiamiCountyHomeshow.com. Tickets $6. Children under 12 are free. Don't miss miss it.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
That dinner was delicious. What's next?
I'm thinking just the check.
Do you frequently have gas, bloating, diarrhea, stomach pain, or loose oily stools after eating? One or more of these symptoms could be a sign of exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, and it may be time to talk to your doctor.
If you have EPI, Creon may be right for you. Creon, pancrelipase, is an oral prescription medication that treats EPI. Creon replaces enzymes you may be missing to help you break down food properly.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosis and colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Do not chew capsules or contents as this may cause mouth irritation. Tell your doctor if you have unusual or severe stomach pain, bloating, trouble passing stool, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, worsening of painful swollen joints, or allergic reactions. Other side effects may include changes in blood sugars, gas, dizziness, or sore throat and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Talk to your doctor about Creon, the #1 prescribed EPI treatment, and visit gocreon.com. That's GOCREON.com, or call 1-800-633-9110.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
The Dayton Fire Department is hiring and accepting applications beginning January 4th, running through February 20th. If you have a determined attitude and are looking for an exciting job with great pay, superior training, with college credits available after training, excellent benefits, and a rewarding career, then the Dayton Fire Department needs you. Visit joindaytonfire.com for more information today. Minorities especially encouraged to apply. The DFD is an equal opportunity employer. The Dayton Fire Department. Come live the dream.
We just got a $40,000 bill for your surgery.
What? The insurance company said it would be covered. What happened?
Unfortunately, this surprise medical bill scenario is far too common. Thanks to recently passed legislation, Ohioans will no longer receive surprise medical bills for emergency care or unexpected out-of-network care. If you believe that you've received a medical bill in error, contact the Ohio Department of Insurance at 1-800-686-1526 or insurance.ohio.gov.
Hi, this is Keith Byers. If you suffer from chronic joint pain, don't assume that steroid shots, pain pills, and surgery are your only options. You can now get real, lasting, life-changing relief from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in using biologic therapies to repair damaged tissue in your aching joints. The success rate is staggering. People with knee and back pain, shoulder pain, and hip pain, they're moving again, enjoying life with the help of QC Kinetics. This advanced, unique treatment protocol uses natural biologic agents, mostly from your own body. These powerful, highly concentrated growth factors are put directly into your affected joint, going to work to soothe the inflammation and restore damaged tissue. Finally, a new, different, highly successful approach to dealing with joint pain. Is it time you got a second opinion? Call QC Kinetics now and wake up to a life without pain. Call QC Kinetics at 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
Menards carries the largest in-stock selection of appliances. Discover the Criterion Advantage with great features and great value. A large 20.8 cubic foot Criterion top freezer refrigerator is Energy Star rated and features adjustable glass shelves and gallon-sized door bins. Save $150 after sale price and mail-in rebate. Pick it up today for just $599. See store for details. Good through February 19th during Menards Race to Savings Sale.
Save big money at Menards.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good, really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
If you've ever ordered food for work, you understand. It's different. There's just so much more at stake. Whether it's a meeting, a client call, or lunch with the office that has to arrive at the actual lunchtime, food for work has to work. That's why there's Easy Cater. Food that's on time and as ordered from over 82,000 restaurants. And if there's a problem, rare, you can reach someone in seconds.
Thank you for calling Easy Cater.
Some food just doesn't work at work, but Easy Cater just does. Order 24/7 at easycater.com.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $700 on average, and those savings add up. Imagine what you could buy in the future.
So yeah, I used the savings from switching to Progressive 50 years ago to finally buy my dream car. It's a self-driving flying car, but we just say self-flying now. You know, because it's the future, and cars fly in the future.
So switch to Progressive and save big, because those savings can add up in the future. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National annual average insurance savings by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive in 2020. Potential savings will vary.
Want the same internet but more privacy? DuckDuckGo's got you covered. With one download, you can search and browse privately, avoiding trackers, all for free. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Good news, baseball fans. We're just a couple of weeks from spring training. Oh. No, that's not true. Not cap. True at all. Oh, yeah, cap. There we go. Perfect opportunity to drop a cap. I just totally forgot. Holy moly. But good thing, you know, it's disappointing not being able to talk about the Reds right now. I mean, there's some people have reached out. And now, look, I know I get a lot of heat from people for my personality because it sucks, and I get it. But getting mad because I haven't talked Reds baseball right now. I'm actually pretty impressed with how many emails we've had. Yes, people still emailing me, complaining that we haven't talked enough Reds baseball. And I said, well, I disagree with you. I don't think it's that we haven't talked enough Reds baseball. We haven't talked any Reds baseball. It's nothing to talk about. As of right now, the Reds don't exist. As of right now, Major League Baseball doesn't exist. As of right now, while football is, you know, if football's biggest issue right now, Kev, is, the Pro Bowl is not competitive, which I'm not making light of the coaching issue in the NFL, which we'll get to around the corner. But if it's from a competitive on-field standpoint, if the biggest issue for baseball is, or for football is our Pro Bowl is not that competitive, well, good for you, because baseball can't even find out how to put a bad product on the field right now. So just saying. It's kind of an issue as far as I'm concerned. Literally, this was the Reds social media account the other day because they can't use player images.
So wait. You talked about that. Can they use former players, like guys that aren't actively players in the MLB? Okay.
I believe so. I could be wrong on that. But here's the deal. So the Reds the other day, and they're having to be creative. I'm not going to bash their social media team. I know a lot of people that work for their social media team. They do a good job, but I'm not making fun of those who made the tweet. It's just what they're handcuffed to, sitting here trying to come up with creative ways to put content out without the players that are the brand.
Right.
So they put out a thing. If you're a Reds pitcher going out for Game 1 of the World Series, which Reds logo on the pitcher's mound do you want? And they had like 4 different options of a red, white, and blue C, a shaded in all red C, or the white C for the, you know what I mean? Like, so that's why I was laughing. I'm like, man, they're strapped right now. Like, they got nothing. I don't blame them. Yeah. Like, they're just sitting here waiting. Baseball, we knew it was going to be this way. We knew when it was handled poorly during the COVID lock, and it wasn't really a lot. Yeah, I guess it was a COVID lockout, if you'll call it that. Both sides not being able to agree on anything. We knew that the side that lost that was the players' side, the players' union. And the players' union, while they're trying to make the owners out to be bad, and the owners are bad too. By the way, I don't have a side in this. People think, I'm not pro-player. I'm just not pro-billionaire rich people. I don't really care. Like, I know the athletes aren't billionaires like the owners, but trust me, the things we worry about in life financially and the things they worry about in life financially, I don't feel bad for you. So bottom line is this. I don't care if, you're just jealous. Yes, I am. What? And you're not? Anyone that's not jealous of someone that makes more money than you, I don't know what's wrong with you. Do you even have a pulse then? Because what do you want me to say? I love when we try to sound like we're saying the right thing. I'm not jealous of anybody. That's not true. Jealousy is a natural human emotion. You can't not be jealous of something. You can try to say the right things to convince people you're not jealous, but there's always something that someone has that you wish that you had, or that you think it's dumb that they have it and you should have it. Right, Kev? Like, I don't understand that. But anyways, that's a rant for later. The point is the players are doing everything that they can to make the owners pay for them bullying them during the COVID lockout, right? Well, you got your way this time, but you're not getting your way in the next one, which is this one, the big one. And the owners are like, well, listen, we're still the owners. Yes, we make a lot of money off of you guys, but that's called business. That's how it always is in every infrastructure of business. And of course, things could be more fair. I am having an opinion on this without knowing all of the details of, and by the way, for those of you that think, you still have no clue what's going on. You don't know what exact details are being discussed behind closed doors, because I talked to a few people that are actually covering this, including a former player that's local here, or not a current player that's local here, that's actually on the Players Association. They don't even know all the they're not even privy to all the stuff that's being hashed out behind closed doors with lawyers and everything else. So that's what I always get a good kick out of on this. But problem is, both sides are wrong as far as the business side of how you're perceived by fans. That's all that matters. Players may feel like they're in the right for themselves. The owners feel like they're in the right for themselves. But both of them fighting for themselves is not a good look to us, the consumers. And there's nothing out there that anyone can try to say that's going to make me feel differently about that, mainly because you should fight for you. Even if it impacts others, the owners should definitely fight for themselves. I mean, they've worked hard to make the money that they have, whether people feel like they deserve it or not. Plus, you own a team. You have leverage. The players want leverage to play for the team that you own. So, of course, they're going to want more, and you're not going to want to give up more. That's called business. We go through that with our jobs every single day, regardless of the industry we work in. So this is just, it's never going to end, Kev.
Oh, no.
It's always going to be this way.
The thing about baseball that always makes me weird or makes me feel a type of way is you never hear the things that you hear in football. You never hear about dudes crossing the picket line or scab players in MLB. It seems like the MLB players union is super unified, like to the max. Like, you don't get that unification from the NFL players. Remember the last vote and everything like that? It was almost literally 50-50, down to like they were literally counting the last votes. Like, it was down to like the last 10 votes of the players union and everything like that. So in baseball, granted, I don't follow it as much as basketball or football, but it seems like the players are always on the same page. And the owners are always on the same page. So I think that's why you have so much friction all the time. You have two sides that aren't willing to bend at all.
To be fair, the players, I know what you're saying. It appears that way. But again, you're talking about when it appears that all the players are on the same side. There is actually discord amongst the players, because the players that make the bigger chunk of the money, they're the ones that are pushing the agenda.
Right.
Because the more money they make, and everything else. So the people that get impacted by this are the middle of the line players and the lower end players, because people act like, well, more money more chunk of the pie that's given to the players, if you think that money is going to be distributed evenly throughout all the players, you're wrong. It's not going to help the mid-level players or the bad players down at the, you know what I mean? Or even the vet minimums and stuff. The players union's fighting for the bigger stars to make even more money than what they already are, which again, if you get that approved, more power to you. Just get it approved a little faster, would you? But like, if this is a true back and forth, they're negotiating, Kevin, fine, but they're not even negotiating. The big headlines out of these meetings are
they ain't talking.
They're not talking. Like, that's the problem. I could respect this more if every week they're going back and forth with proposal, but they'll go like 7 days or 5 or 6 days without even a proposal being presented. And then they have to get a mediator involved, an outside guy involved. And I'm like, why?
Lots of egos involved.
And I don't know. And I think that the owners are saying, like, the owners know the athletes are getting more and more power as each season goes by, as each decade goes by. So these owners they're locking arm in arm even tighter. The players are fighting for the players of the future, but the owners are like, we're fighting for our team's future as well, as far as we don't want to relinquish power. Rich people are rich because they have power. They don't want to relinquish power, Kev. They don't want to give anything up. This mindset of, they make enough money. I know that's easy for us to say who don't have a lot of money, but people who have a lot of money, they want more money just as much as we want more money in our poor little lives, right? Like, that's the thing. So I never have that mind, even though like I get annoyed. I'm like, they have plenty of money, but I know that's not how they view it. Like, and they shouldn't. Just like I should. If I was rich, I'd probably be just as much of a rich jerk as every other rich jerk in this country. So it is what it is.
Do you think that's true? Do you think that these players, because you only hear that from baseball, at least I only hear from baseball, they're talking about they're doing this for the future of the game. Do you buy that?
I think it's a side pact, which this is what's called a collusion, by the way. I think there's most definitely collusion going on of owners get mad at other owners. Like when Trout got that $500 million contract or whatever, $500 million or whatever the heck it was, or $400 million, owners were pissed across Major League Baseball because that may not be a big deal. Like when the Angels did that, I don't think the Dodgers or the Dodgers and Yankees were probably annoyed, but they could do it. If I'm if I'm a Reds owner or a Pirates owner or a Brewers owner, I'm pissed. Those franchises can't pay that $500 million contract, Kev. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, so a lot of times it's coming down to, hey, when you make a deal like that, you're screwing it up for the rest of the league. Like, everyone's an owner of their own individual team, but every decision that an owner makes for their team sets the market for every team around them, and then they become even more competitive as far as that's concerned. I think some go in it saying, hey, we got to be united on this. No one give X amount of dollars in this situation. And I'm always curious if teams still do it anyways. Like, did the Angels give that contract to Trout knowing that they were going to ruffle feathers around the league?
Absolutely they did. Because the thing about baseball, there's no salary cap. And you're always going to have this because the players don't want a salary cap and the big market teams don't want a salary cap. So they'll be able to sign these big time players and these big time superstars because they know teams like the Reds or the Guardians can't afford it. So they never want a salary cap. The players don't want a salary cap because that means more money for them. So when you have a non-salary cap sport, that's what's going to happen. So I think that's a bigger issue than anything in baseball, them not having a salary cap.
And by the way, when you asked earlier about do I really think that they talk about protecting the future of the game? If they cared about protecting the game, they would want a salary cap. If they truly cared about the natural competitive welfare of the sport, a salary cap is needed. Like, don't pretend that you care about the health of a team or the health of a sport when that's not the case. So that's all. Like, I think that if owners and players truly cared, they would both fight for a salary cap if they actually cared about the sport. But here's where I'm going to say it's okay that you don't fight for it because it's okay to be selfish. You should. You have a short athletic window to make money off of your talent. So if baseball doesn't have a salary cap, why would a player push for one?
Right.
And I'm surprised owners don't push for it, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Owners are the ones pissed off about having to pay these players that.
The teams like the Rangers and the Texans and the Mets, the Yankees, and the LA teams, these coastal teams that bring in money hand over fist because of their TV network, because they are in the 1, 2, and 3 media markets, they don't want it because they get money hand over fist and they can afford it. But the Brewers, the Reds, the Guardians, the Pirates, They're not going to bring in that type of revenue because the population of those cities isn't the same as those other cities. So my question for owners is, it's got to be more, quote unquote, mid-level small market teams than big market teams. So does this come down to a vote of owners, or is this a commissioner thing? These are questions that I'm just asking because I don't know. And that's what I would ask somebody like Schlimmer or something like that, or, you know, somebody that's like super connected to baseball. This may seem like elementary questions to guys like those because they cover the sport on a daily basis and they know the ins and outs. But, you know, a lot of fans out there are like me that are, you know, just fans of their team, and they really don't focus on the sport as a whole. And then when they hear about the sport being in a lockout or a boycott or whatever, all they're thinking is, man, I wanted to see our new team. I want to see the Cleveland Guardians in their new gear. I want to see us spend big money in free agency because we have a great pitching staff. Let's go get some bats. And now we have to wait. We have to pause. I had plans on going to the Reds and Guardians game in Cincinnati because it actually falls on my birthday. Guess what? Not going to happen because my birthday's in April. This season ain't starting in April.
Nope, it's not. And the other thing too, and I know people say, well, you know, of course, fans are going to say that. Well, fans matter more than the actual players' opinions do, because let's be honest, people are like, well, their talent's why they make that much money. No, we are why they make that much money. I have no problem in saying that, because, by the way, in everything in life, there are people that are super talented. Doesn't mean necessarily that you get paid for your talent. Your talent has to match up with a market that is suitable to pay you. And if the fans aren't tuning in and the fans aren't buying your jerseys and the fans aren't, you know, buying the nachos and the overpriced beer and everything else, you don't matter at that point. You know, for instance, and people don't make no stupid jokes, people, but the WNBA is a prime example. The WNBA, you think those women aren't talented? They're the best in the world at what they do. But they don't generate ratings. They don't generate revenue. And then the big talk is, well, you know, they want paid this much and they don't even do this, this, and this. You're right. It's, you know, we could talk about the fairness factor or what have you. But the bottom line is, if that money's not coming in, you can't ask for money that's not coming in. They still should be making more money than what they do compared to what is coming in. But that's not the point. So my point is that with baseball, to say, well, we deserve this because of what's coming. Well, what's coming in is because the fans. And if you crap on the fans and you just assume that they're going to come back after every lockout, assume that they're going to come back every time you raise prices on this and black out this market and continue to crap on small market teams, if you think that fans are already going away. So that's the problem as far as I'm concerned when it comes to baseball. Just because they're talented doesn't mean that they deserve that money. What the fans are just as valuable in a pro organization's welfare than anything, is just as much as that. So that's kind of how I view it. My point about the WNBA is that those players are just as they're talented for that sport. They are super talented for what they do. They're the best in the world at what they do. But that just because you're really, really good at what you do doesn't mean you can ask for the world. You have to understand the economics of the sport at hand. Yes, you probably deserve more from your talent, but if the revenue of that sport doesn't match the talent level, it doesn't matter. And that's why
a lot of the WNBA biggest stars, they play overseas. Like, they make more money overseas than they actually do
play year round
playing in the WNBA. You're right. They play year round, where, you know, the
NBA has their days off.
Exactly. The NBA, they rock from October, and most teams are done in April. And they're making millions and millions. And I mean, you know, it moves the needle and everything like that. But
Shanae Agumike was a full-time radio host for a while because she was trying to balance doing full-time sports radio show and playing at the same time. Well, how come NBA players do it? Because they don't need to.
Right.
I mean, she was good at what she did. She's still with the network, but obviously, by the way, when ESPN announced that they were adding her to the ESPN radio lineup, I thought that was the dumbest thing in the world. Not because I didn't think she was good, but why would you add to a full-time sports radio network? Why would you add a full-time current athlete to that list, knowing that, hey? And then when the sport got here, like, well, I don't know what we're going to do. Well, gee, I wonder what the hell you thought was going to happen when you add a full-time pro athlete to the board. I will give a shout out to Draymond Green, by the way. Off nights, he is going to be a part. I think they're grooming him to replace Barkley here. Barkley has made it very clear he's going to retire here in the next year or two. I think they're grooming him to kind of be his replacement, if you will.
Man, I mean, if anything's taught you about COVID, is take advantage of opportunities. And there were no players with podcasts before. Draymond Green has a podcast. CJ McCullough has, right? Yep. CJ McCullough has a podcast. JJ Redick, even though he's retired now, he has a podcast. Like, they've taken advantage of this opportunity to let people in on them and let them know about their personalities, and people are tuning in. Now they're turning that into, other opportunities with networks. So you got to salute that, man. Take advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah, and the thing, what I find fascinating about that is Barkley and Draymond can't stand one, or I shouldn't say that. They've had public beef. He's had it with Barkley and Shaq.
Right.
Because Shaq and Barkley, in typical get off my lawn fashion, which I'm a big fan of now because I'm officially that age, they criticize today's game, and then it rubs the current players the wrong way. But what I love is that the professionalism of them have the ability to go do a show together and still be able to provide an entertaining product. I think that's cool. Draymond Green also, if you based it off his outcry against Colin Cowherd, he hated Colin Cowherd for the longest time. Maybe he still does. I don't know. But he has a podcast under Colin Cowherd's network.
Business is business.
I need to grow up then. I need to learn how to work with people that I don't like. And let's be clear, I'm just not liked. I think people need to learn how to work with me. I think that's how it is. All right. 518-1410, by the way, 518-1410. That's the number to call in and jump in on the conversation. Kev Nash brings us over under when we come back.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations, so you get the product you're looking for. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Find more jobs on the new monster.com. Jobs for night owls, early risers. Jobs for people who do their best thinking in the morning, or the evening, or the shower, or with TV cameras pointed in their face. Jobs for people who like the way they look in scrubs, or in cowboy hats, or tool belts. Even jobs for people who think they have a voice for radio. With more advice and jobs for career switchers, new grads, and digital nomads, Monster has all you
About my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Have you ever noticed that when the afternoon light hits your floors, you can see everything, including dust?
So much dust.
And that floor dust gets kicked up into the air, compromising the quality of air you and your family breathe. Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper is the fast and easy way to clean your floors with ultra-thick pads that trap and lock dust before it gets in the air. Just a couple minutes a day,
and dust is gone.
Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper. Proud partner of the American Lung Association.
Hey, Ray Magliozzi here. I don't know about you, but my car could use a few upgrades. I mean, the 8-inch tier in the driver's seat does have sentimental value since my butt has molded to fit it, but I'm ready to move on. My solution? eBay Motors. They've got all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them, from seat covers to whole new seats. When I get that new seat, I think I'll put the old one in the living room, right next to the minivan seats, or as we call it, the sectional. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Homestead Feed and Supply is proud to introduce a new product line straight from Texas. Stock Show Secret Products and Flex Appeal. Make your project look the best. Only available at Homestead Feed and Supply. New Carlisle. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
The Flower Man here with the Valentine's Day tradition. A free vase and a dozen roses, only $12.99 at the Flower Man. This is not a dream. A dozen roses and a free vase, only $12.99. Thank you, Flower Man. I got myself excited. Go to flowermanflowers.com. That's flowermanflowers.com. It's a tradition.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy, a high near 35. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy and cold, a low near 8. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy, a high near 38. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
This is Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Tomorrow.
During Black History Month, we lift up the stories of many notable Americans and their contributions to our country. But we must do more. We need to have honest conversations about the good and bad of our history to help students become critical thinkers who can learn from our mistakes and triumphs and create a better future for all of us.
Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Germain Honda Beaver Creek is your local Honda dealer. For a limited time, get 0.9% financing on the 22 Honda Pilot, Honda Passport, and Honda HRV, and as low as 1.9% financing on all other 22 Hondas while supplies last. We can get the Honda you're looking for. We are taking deposits on current scheduled in-build 22 Hondas every day. See me, sales manager Jason High, for all the details. We're located Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way. I hope to see you soon.
Make the big game even bigger with your new TV and sound system from Audio Etc. There is nothing better than a home theater or high-fidelity music system from Audio Etc. 4K is amazing, but just imagine the 8K experience. Come to Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom today and experience 8K TVs and projectors. Audio Etc has tons of new inventory in stock, while everybody else is back-ordered or out of stock. Get special deals on TVs, short-throw projectors for 100-inch and 130-inch, and Sonos soundbars from $399, all the way to high-end Dream Systems. Audio Etc can bring any game home. It's better than being there. You have to see it to believe the incredible quality of the picture and sound. It's all about perspective. Audio Etc has the brands, the deals, and the excitement. Audio Etc, powered by Klipsch, Bowers & Wilkins, SVS, Marantz, Denon, Sony, and a whole list of high-performance brands that you've probably never heard of.
Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
When others treat your fries as an afterthought, all you're left with are cold, soggy fries. That's why Wendy's new fries are ones you won't forget, guaranteed to be hot and crispy, or we'll replace them. We're talking natural cut, skin-on fries, perfectly seasoned with a hint of sea salt. In fact, they're even preferred almost 2-to-1 over McDonald's. These are fries so hot and crispy, they beg a new question.
What would you like with your fries?
Try them today, only at Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, taste preference based on a national taste test by an independent research company.
You guys rock! Hey, welcome to Late Night with yours truly, Shannon Smith. Thank you. Those studio signs prompting you to chair really work. I think I gotta leave.
We're getting word Shannon's headed to Taco Bell.
When you need a taco, you need a taco. Introducing the new Cantina Crispy Chicken Tacos. Try them with creamy chipotle or avocado ranch sauce. Only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for limited time only. Contact local store for hours and participation restricted.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. I'm a speed bump. Did you hear what I said? I'm a speed bump. And if you have cut rate car insurance, the cost to reattach your muffler could really be a bump in the road. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Elise and Carl needed a small business loan fast to order more equipment for their bakery. Elise suggested OnDeck.com, but instead, Carl called
Lone Falcon!
Wait, no.
Look out! Bad Falcon, heal! Lone Falcon, why?
There's a better way to get a fast small business loan. On Deck, the online lender that makes it easy to apply in minutes and, if approved, get your loan as soon as the same day. With lines of credit up to $100,000 and term loans up to $250,000, On Deck lets you choose the loan that's right for your business. As America's largest online small business lender, On Deck has funded over $14 billion to businesses like yours, so you can borrow with confidence and get your loan fast. Go to OnDeck.com. Your loan is on deck. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued by OnDeck or Celtic Bank, a Utah chartered industrial bank, member FDIC. Limited eligibility for same-day funding. OnDeck does not lend in every state. All loans subject to lender approval.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
All right. A little bit of a lengthy breakaway, but we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. So Pro Football Focus, I don't get them sometimes. So get this, Kev. Pro Football Focus, who always makes it their focus to convince people that they're the smartest ones in the room. And they do. Look, for what their goal is, there's a lot of good information to pull from Pro Football Focus. I make my little comments here and there, but I use Pro Football Focus for a lot of content as well. But there's just some things, Kev, that I'm like, I don't understand the concept of what you're trying to prove. We talked about it a few weeks ago when they grade everybody. And then they say, oh, man, he's the highest graded quarterback. He's the highest graded running back. He's the highest graded wide receiver. And that sounds good. Like, you want to be the highest graded at anything you do, right?
Right.
But if being the highest graded at something doesn't mean you're the best at something, then who cares? That's always my biggest takeaway of Pro Football Focus. If you are coming up with the system that grades performance and you're coming up with athletes who grade out as the best at what they do, but they're not the best at what they do, then what the hell's the purpose of being graded as far as that's concerned? Like we talked about in college and high school, when you get grades, it's to determine who's the smartest of the class, who's the smartest in class, who's not. It's tangible. If you're a 4.0 student and you get all A's, you're a hell of a student. You are smart. You're one of the best at what you do. But in football, yes, you're still one of the best at what you do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going back into that to bring up Joe Burrow. I'm just saying that was my big criticism of them a few weeks ago. But how about this one, Kev? Pro Football Focus never ceases to amaze me. Did you know Pro Football Focus highlighted Trayvon Diggs? Did you know that Trayvon Diggs has never dropped an interception in his career? Did you know that technically nobody in the history of the game has ever dropped an interception? Because it's an interception. It's an interception. It doesn't make sense. What does that even mean, Pro Football Focus? Well, again, trying to be the smartest one in the room, and you just come across kind of silly sometimes. Never dropped it. That's like saying he's never dropped, in the history of his career, has never dropped a touchdown catch.
It's silly, man. I think the biggest problem that I have with Pro Football Focus is they come up with these numbers and they come up with these calculations, everything like that, but they don't do a good job explaining how they come up with them, nor do they do a good job explaining what it means. Like, what does that mean? Like, because on the surface level, obviously he's never dropped an interception because he caught it. Duh. Yeah, he can't drop it because he caught it, because it's an interception, because if he didn't catch it, it wouldn't be an interception. Like, that's the common sense of it. So obviously we put on our thinking cap and say, like, okay, I guess they're meaning that any pass that has been thrown that has hit his hands and that was interceptable, if that's a word, he is picked off.
Oh, yeah.
I guess that's what that means, but you shouldn't leave things to interpretation. Like, I think it should be to a point where people understand what they mean from some of the stats that they throw out there, because they just tweet out these stats and then you and I, we look at it and we look at it as a sense of confusion. And then other people out there that are stat nerds and just look at anything out there and says, like, to try to determine if somebody's the best, they retweet it. Cowboys fans retweeted, like, look at my guy, man. He's never dropped an interception. He's the best. Like, okay. I'd rather have a dude that doesn't give up a lot of yards. I'd rather have Deion Sanders, who's shut down receivers. I'd rather have a Jalen Ramsey, who they say, we're not even going to throw to his side of the field. Obviously, they feel like they can make plays on him because they keep throwing to his side. So throw out that other stat about Trayvon Diggs.
He also leads the league in the most touchdowns given up when thrown his way. Like that.
Boom or bust.
Yeah.
Boom or bust. Either he's gonna make a play or he's gonna get toasted.
Which, I like him 50% of the time. So I just tweeted out, it says Trayvon Diggs has never dropped an interception. So I tweeted out that I have never been late to work on days that I've been on time to work. See how that works?
Facts.
Well, there's some other things we could play with that. I mean, I've never, no, I can't. I got one good one now. That's all that matters. I've never been late to work on days that I show up on time to work. Pro Football Focus.
PFF.
Puff. That's what I say to that. No, in all seriousness, I know some people that work for Pro Football Focus. I know that they put out the work they do is fantastic. I get that. But I'm just not a big fan of some of the perceptions of what they try to push. And guys use some of these numbers to try to win arguments. And I'm like, I know what you are trying to use to win this argument. You think it looks good, but it's not telling a complete story. And that's one of them right there. But it is what it is. All right. Justin Kenner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Here's Scott Campbell. He's getting in on the fun. He says it's never been dark on days where the sun has risen in the east. Come on. I know there's more out there. In fact, help us out here. 518-1410, 518-1410, or head to the Justin Kenner Show Facebook page. I'm curious. So Pro Football Focus says Trayvon Diggs has never dropped an interception in his career. Okay. Yeah. Duh. That Joe Burrow has never not started in a game that he has started. You see how dumb that sounds? I have never been late to work on days that I've been on time to work. You see how dumb that sounds? Pro Football Focus. Scott Campbell with a good one. It's never been dark on days where the sun has risen in the east. I have never lost a game that I have won.
Right.
Does it make sense? Pro Football Focus. Come on, you try to pretend to be. So yes, if I want to be entertained, I'm not capable of entertaining listeners for 3 hours a day. That's why Kev was brought in to help balance it out a little bit. He provides the entertainment. I need you to help with the entertainment as well, listeners. 518-1410, or head to the Justin Kenner Show Facebook page. Trayvon Diggs has never dropped an interception in his career, according to Pro Football Focus. I don't think anyone has ever dropped an interception in their career. Everyone that has caught an interception has caught it. They haven't dropped it. Anyways, okay.
We know what we call that.
What is that?
Reaching.
Oh, yeah.
Reaching. They reaching. It's just reaching, man. And we give Pro Football Focus a ton of pub for some of these mystery stats that they throw out there and expect people to dissect and everything like that. They need to send us a free subscription or something.
See, Mike Haywood's jumping in on the fun. So Scott Campbell jumped in. He said, it's never been dark on days where the sun has risen in the east. Good one. Mike Haywood, 49ers have never lost a game that they scored more points than the other team. That's excellent. See? I like it. These funny ones, it is what it is. I don't know. I don't know why I'm making a big deal out of that on a week that the Bengals are playing in the Super Bowl, but we'll get back to some of that Super Bowl coverage coming up here in a moment. Kev Nash will bring us our over-under. Earlier in the show, we did I did the Kenner 3 and out. Which team, and I want to recap these just in quick form, Kev. I don't want to get into the heavy conversation, but I do thought that some points in here, there are segments on this show where I know I'm going to say something purposely to, newsflash, by the way. Everyone's like, oh, Kenner, you just say that to get a reaction. Find me a radio host that doesn't do that, and then we can have a conversation. Kev, I don't think cares about getting the reaction. Kev's so just chill and just bad, But
yin and yang.
There are days where I know some topics are going to lead to me saying something that's going to get some people irritated, and then there's topics like this that I did not think was not one of those moments. I thought I was complimenting the team, and it ended up creating havoc. We got some more coming in. Randy Bertholf on YouTube says Joey Votto has never had fewer RBIs than home runs for a season. You had to think about that one for a minute. Jake, gosh dang it. The Browns have never lost a Super Bowl where they have been to the Super Bowl.
Oh.
Ooh, I got one. The Bengals have never won a Super Bowl. No, that's not funny. God dang it. Almost said something I can't because, Jake, you got me all flustered. Jake, see, why do you got to do that, man? You're an Eagles fan anyways. This is Eagles fan. I told you a while back. Him and his wife had posted pictures on Facebook about a baby shower, I believe, or whatever. And I was like, that says Jake Whiting, but that can't be Jake Whiting. He's a Bengals fan, and he has this little Eagles beanie on. He has an Eagles hoodie. He's all about the Fly Eagles Fly
backup team.
Oh yeah, like I said, every smart fan needs a side chick team. There you go. But that's an ugly side chick team, the Eagles.
Don't let KB hear you say that.
I think he'll agree right now. But then again, I am a fan of the Browns on the side, so it is what it is. All right. But so earlier we did this 3 and out, and I had asked Kev, which team is more dependent on their quarterback to win this Sunday's Super Bowl? You know, are the Rams more dependent, like Matthew Stafford, if he doesn't have a good game, if he has an average to below average game, can the Rams win? Same thing for the Bengals. Which team is more dependent on their quarterback to win this Super Bowl this Sunday? So my response was, I believe that the Rams are more dependent on their quarterback, mainly because, I mean, the offense is built to be a pass first everything. I mean, they have Cam Akers, who's very good, but Cam Akers is not the vocal point of that offense. It's Matthew Stafford. It's Cooper Kupp. Now Odell Beckham Jr. is in the mix. I mean, they're an explosive, air it out type of team. So when Matthew Stafford doesn't play well, they don't play well either. Like they don't win football games. In fact, I read a stat today that they only one of their wins this year, Kev, have come with him throwing for under 300 yards. He's had to throw for over 300 yards in every one of their wins this season.
Yikes.
So that's not the case for Joe Burrow. I've been talking about that with Joe Burrow all years. There's been many games where he has thrown for 150. He threw for 150 yards, 175 yards. When he throws for under 200 yards, I'd stopped keeping track of the win-loss record, but they were like well above 500. They were like, I mean, almost undefeated when he was throwing for less than 30 times a game. I don't think that the Bengals are dependent on Joe Burrow. They're dependent on the aura of Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's presence lifts the Cincinnati Bengals. That's what's special about Joe Burrow and his ability to throw and his ability to play that position. But I don't think they are dependent on him having to have a box score, like a fantastic box score game. And that's the difference between the two. The Rams need Matthew Stafford to air it out. They need him to make big plays to get those guys involved. The Bengals have proven, with Joe Burrow going 7 straight quarters without throwing a touchdown, the Bengals have proven that without the offense clicking on all cylinders, that they can win football games because of special teams and because of defense complemented by the offense. They would prefer it to be offense complemented by defense and special teams, and that is the Bengals more weeks than not. But they've proven they could win despite of that. So, Kev, to me, I mean, you disagreed on this, but I think that the Rams are more dependent on their quarterback this weekend to win. I don't think Joe Burrow has to play lights out against this Rams team for them to win a football game, as long as the Bengals defense shows up to play it.
Yeah, that's the other part. You know, I think it's all about matchups. And I think that this matchup for the Cincinnati Bengals offense, the Rams defense, is tough. Like, this is, if you thought it was a struggle for the Cincinnati Bengals offense versus the Titans, this is up a notch. Not only do they have the big boys up front on the D-line, but they got guys in the back end and the secondary and very interchangeable parts. You know, they're getting some guys back as well. They're getting 2 starters back for the Super Bowl. You know, they had to call in dudes that retired to play in the secondary, but now they're getting 2 starters back for the Super Bowl. The biggest game of the year, they're getting 2 starters back. And they made it to the Super Bowl without them. So I think it's that matchup to say, hey, man, we need our star quarterback to play like a star because their defense is the best defense we've probably seen all season. That's where I'm at with it. I don't think that Matthew Stafford needs to play at a star level because I think that the defense that he's going up against is good, but I don't think it's great. But I think the Rams defense is great. So I think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to need Joe Burrow and that offense to play lights out for them to get this victory in the Super Bowl. Because I think that the Rams can win with a Matthew Stafford Cardinals performance because the defense can cause that much havoc. I mean, we saw Kyler Murray go Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the end zone.
You love that. You love bringing that up, which is totally fine because it was funnier than hell. But like if I'm a bang on Jimmy G for going Magic Johnson with his pass, I'm a bang on Kyler Murray for going Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with a skyhook pass for an interception for a pick 6. Equal opportunity for bonehead plays from quarterbacks. So that's where I'm at with it. I think that the Rams defense can make Joe Burrow look like Kyler Murray. And I don't think that the Cincinnati Bengals defense can do that to Matthew Stafford. I think that they can play it close to the vest because their defense is so good. Because like if the Cincinnati Bengals go down, 14-0, we don't need Stafford to, all right, man, let's go 5 wide, man. Let's throw for 500 yards. Like, hey, man, let's turn to the run game and get this clock moving and get out of Dodge and raise this Lombardi. So that's where I'm at with it. Well, it's fun. I mean, the Rams, like, I think that the Bengals are as good and potentially better than this Rams team. And I think the Rams are getting way too much love in regards to they're the sexier team on paper. But statistically, Kev, the Rams gave up 5,863 total yards on the season. The Bengals gave up 5,964. So the Bengals only gave up 100 more yards total on the season. You look at, I mean, across the board, everything that has gone on. I mean, as far as points, yards, the Rams. Let me see what the points factor does come into this as far as that's concerned too, because the Bengals average 22 a game, and then of course you continue going down that list, and then obviously where do the the Rams? They're averaging 21 a game. They're dead even.
Yeah.
The Bengals have. As far as total yards, the Bengals have only given up 100 more yards total in the regular season than the Rams did. The Bengals average more points, more total yards. Like, I honestly think that the Rams are getting, and this is coming from the biggest Bengal hater out there, right? According to you guys, the Rams are getting more of the love, Kev, because of Sean McVay, because of Matthew Stafford, because I think these guys have been around longer.
Right.
They're getting more favorable. They're getting the more favorable perception because they just look sexier on paper, but they're not that much different. Here's the deal, folks. You're going to take this as an insult, Bengals fans, because that's what you do, and that's okay. But hear me out. Great value at Walmart. Most of those items, you can't tell the difference. If you were to take out the actual item, great value anything, great value cinnamon rolls versus Pillsbury cinnamon rolls, and you baked both, you couldn't tell the damn difference between the two. Take the labels off of them, bake them. You can't tell the difference between the two. That's the Rams and the Bengals. The Bengals are great value Rams. And I'm not joking. Hendrickson. Would you rather have Hendrickson or would you rather have, of course, Aaron Donald? Of course you want Aaron Donald. But there's nothing wrong with Hendrickson.
Right.
All right. Do you want, Jalen Ramsey? Did I get it right this time? Or
yes.
Do you want any of the secondary pieces on the Bengals? You want Jalen Ramsey. But is there anything wrong with what the Bengals have secondary-wise? No. Could you upgrade it? Absolutely. They're a great value. All right. I think Joe Burrow is not great value Matthew Stafford. I think that they're pretty damn even. I do think that statistically, Jamar Chase is great value Cooper Kupp, but it's still the same damn thing. They're both the same. They're just as talented. That's what I mean by that. I think that the Bengals are a great value LA Rams, and that's not an insult. And I'm telling you right now, I don't see the differences in these teams really. They're both almost identical as far as how they're set up. The only thing that makes the Bengals great value compared to the name brand Rams is the offensive line. That's it. And now you could say, well, that's a big deal. It's been a big deal all season. The offensive line being bad has been a big deal all season. They still won the division. They kicked the crap out of the Ravens and the Steelers twice. All right. They beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs twice. They're in the damn Super Bowl. So I don't know, Kev. The offensive line, yes, it's a deficiency, but every team has a deficiency.
Right.
I think that the offenses cancel one another out and the defenses cancel one another out. The only difference between the Rams and the Bengals right now is that the Rams look sexier on paper. That's it. But they don't look sexier as far statistically. But the names, the Aaron Donalds, the Von Millers, all right, the Cooper Kupps, the Odell Beckham Jr.'s. That's it, Kev. There is nothing about the Rams that makes them significantly better than the Bengals. I just don't see it.
Oh, it's definitely going to be a tight matchup. No doubt about it. I think it's going to go into the fourth quarter. The Cincinnati Bengals definitely have a chance to win the game. As far as all the passing and everything like that, like I talked about last week, I think that the Bengals need to run the ball because the Niners in their first two matchups versus the Rams were able to run the ball. And I know it seems crazy to be able to run the ball on Aaron Donald. Yeah, they ran the ball on Aaron Donald. So if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm trying to run the ball at first, at least. I'm going to give the run a shot. I'm not about to try to be out here trying to pass the ball all over Dodge and everything like that. I'm going to try to run the ball with Mixon and see what I can accomplish that way before trying to get pass happy.
All right, 518-1410. 518-1410. Bengals fans agree, disagree. Is this Bengals team great value Rams? I think they are. And that's not an insult. But I believe that they are this. I think that they're the same. I just think that that every strength of the Bengals is also the strength of the Rams. People keep saying the Rams are a much better defensive team. I think what gives the defensive advantage to the Rams is the offensive deficiency of the Bengals, which is that OL. If the Bengals had a good offensive line, I don't think we're talking about how much better the D line of the Rams is compared to the Bengals. I think they're pretty damn even, but I think that the O line of the Bengals is going to make that defense have a slight advantage. So I guess there is that. We'll be back to close out the show in just a few minutes. Yeah, clock management. Come on now.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com today. That's BABBEL.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds